You shall podcast. Happy Hobbit-Days.
6 out of 10. 5 out of 10. 4
Don't
out of
step
10.
on Happy Hobbit-Days. It's a good joke.
It's worse.
No, it's not. It's better. These are our Christmas episodes this year.
My response
Oh,
is you
right.
must.
Happy
You,
Hobbit-Days.
you stepped all over Happy Hobbit-Days.
Just roll it back.
No,
No.
this
You're
is
the
it.
villain of this episode.
This is all in. Got a Balrog blocking my path over here.
A Balrog, if you will.
Balrog in the corner.
This is good.
Well, we're off to a rousing start. Happy Hobbit-Days. It is the theme for this month. We are doing all the Lord of the Rings movies. All 3 of them. And then for the 4th episode, I haven't decided. It'll
3.
probably be some permutation of a Hobbit movie.
The animated Hobbit.
Yeah, it might be the animated
Oh.
Hobbit. We might do Peter
Better
Jackson's Hobbit movies, but I don't really...
Don't do that.
They're fine.
Well, it's only one episode,
They're just like
so it'd be tough to do them all anyway.
they're
But
watchable.
I'm leaning towards animated Hobbit.
Animated Hobbit's so good.
But there you go. It's a new month, so just starting off, that's the plan. And as you guys know, I don't know how to start the podcast yet, so I'll either be telling you what the next few episodes will be about, or something along the lines of "Welcome to Late to the Movies." This is a podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots. I'm Ben Holtz. Left to right across your podcast dial. Your guests this week are Cory,
Hey,
Robbie,
Balrog noises.
and Greg.
Hey.
If I cut out the first time we talk about that, and that's just how you do the intro, I think that's actually the funniest option.
yeah.
This
Great.
month, as I already said, and that's why I switched up the intro because we said it already, we're doing the Lord of the Rings movies. Peter Jackson's early thousands Lord of the Rings movies. This week, however, we are going to focus on the Fellowship of the Ring. And a theme that will also be consistent throughout this month is Greg hasn't seen any of these movies, and the rest of our friends have, so he has to be on every episode. How are you feeling about that after one?
Good. Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool.
Obviously, I hadn't seen any of these before. Before this, I had actually never heard of Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
I assumed it was some kind of like reality TV marriage kind of thing.
The Bachelor.
Makes
Like
sense.
something like that, you know.
As someone who hosts an Oscars party every
Yes.
year, you're like, one of these has the record for most of these ever won, but this means nothing to me.
No, but for real, I feel like there's a lot of pressure to watch these movies. I think it's because everyone I know is very into these movies. So I feel like anytime I've ever been like, yeah, I haven't seen the Lord of the Rings movies, like, okay, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna watch them all, extended editions. It's gonna take 18 hours. We could stop for lunch in the middle, but it's really gonna ruin the whole vibe. And I'm like, yeah, we'll set a date for that.
That's a good time.
And then as soon as we went to start it, you guys were like, did you read all the extra bonus material? And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Did you do your homework? Of course. The essay is due on Saturday.
Yeah. We'll get even to the Silmarillion by the end of this month. I guess we can talk about other stuff too before we get into the meat of the podcast. As always, I'd like to ask if you guys have seen anything recently. Like I said, these are the December episodes. If you've seen anything particularly merry or cheerful, you can have that in too. I have not, but I'll save myself.
It's November. Do you want me to lie?
No, just
I was on pretty recently, and then I had
theater
to,
of the mind, Robbie.
I had to watch this Lord of the Rings movie. I think it's only been a week, and this movie is about a week long. So
That's true.
yeah, I got
I
nothing.
actually watched all 3 of the Sacred Beasts or the Harry Potter.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I was
sorry.
on the plane. I don't know why people hated them so much. They were very enjoyable for me.
Sacred beasts and where to worship them.
Were they amazing? But I was on the plane and I was like, oh, I haven't seen this. And it was a perfect, like, from here to Atlanta, the first movie ended like right before we started the descent. And the second movie, it ended exactly as we landed. And I was like, well, that was perfect. So then I had to watch the third.
They were decent movies. I think people's complaint was they weren't really about Fantastic Beasts and they should have just been Dumbledore movies.
Yeah.
My complaint is it's not about where to find them.
No, you don't. They're like in a suitcase, I guess.
We've
Find them
talked
in a
about
suitcase
this.
in a zoo.
People who have listened to this podcast before, we probably mentioned it on one of those episodes too.
Like
but
3.
yeah, they clearly wanted to do a Dumbledore series. They could have just done that. It's weird that they shoehorned it into this form.
The reason I didn't watch it is because I like this name doesn't sound like I would like this.
Well, yeah, I know. It said J.K. Rowling right on the poster there.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh.
Said written by J.K. Rowling. No, I know what you mean though. Yeah.
Oh God.
No, I got nothing good to say.
I watched Enola Holmes 2, or Enola Holmes, Enola, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, Enola, I believe.
Enola Holmes 2, which was pretty good. It's interesting.
Yeah, good old Harry Cavill there.
Henry Cavill and Millie Bobby Brown.
Harry Carvel.
I finished Midnight Club.
Oh yeah, what'd you think?
It was good. I liked it.
I really hope they do more.
I hope they do more soon because they didn't really like
the most
end
interesting
the
stuff
season.
didn't get
It was like,
satisfactorily
all right, and we're
closed off.
done.
Yeah,
Wait, what about? Nope, we're done.
yeah, that was surprising to me when it ended because I just assumed it being a Flanagan show on Netflix that it was a miniseries, but then I like Googled and there's an interview with him saying like, oh no, it's meant to be like. Hopefully we get a season 2. I think Netflix, even now in early December, haven't announced whether or not they picked it up yet. JK, it's mid-November.
They do. And Neil Gaiman had to like threaten them to go somewhere else, and they finally did Sandman 2.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to gauge the cultural impact of anything that comes out all at once because it's like if people are really into it or just kind of into it, it's like a 3-day cycle anyway.
Right.
So I don't know. As opposed to like, look what happened with House of the Dragon over the last few months.
Even giving Game of Thrones some love. People are going back and watching it. From
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's some value in it being here's another thing every week for, you get to have discourse for a couple months. So you really haven't watched anything else?
No.
I haven't.
No.
That's not the.
Oh yeah, we watched. To stay on theme. We watched Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
The
claymation.
Claymation?
Was it
Rankin
Rankin Bass? Yeah.
technically plasticine, I think. Nerds would want to
I'm always like, oh, this is a good movie. You go back and watch it. It does not age well. It ages really, really poorly.
Whoa, this is
It's
man's
so-
work.
Yeah. Well, this is man's work. The women have to get back to Christmas Town.
They do.
But I had a fun time because I showed it to my daughter. And she was terrified of the Bumble.
Yeah,
Like
I was too. As a
at the
kid.
end of
I
the
mean,
movie,
yeah.
she made me like carry her to bed, and she kept asking me, she's like, "The Bumble, he's not real though." And I'm like, "No, he's not real."
Except for in your room.
And I was like,
Unless you're bad.
I was like, "He's nice in the end." She's like, "Yeah, but he was mean at first."
you
and
can never trust him truly.
You can never, yeah. And the other thing that killed me is the part where they're all making fun of Rudolph. All the like other reindeer are like picking on him and stuff. She's like, why are they being mean? I was like, they're mean because his nose is different. She's like, why? They're like, they don't like his nose. And they're saying more mean things. He looks all sad. And she just goes, he should kick them. And I was like, yeah, he should kick
You're
them.
right.
Just gonna redo Rudolph to a badass revenge story.
I'm surprised he doesn't kick him the way this movie is.
It's funny because we're going from that into a very peaceful start of a movie.
That's true, but not quite yet. I saw a movie called The Banshees of Inisherin.
Ooh.
The
Um,
Banshees of Ed Sheeran.
No. It's about this.
We've known each other for a little while.
It's about these two guys. They live on a small island off the coast of Ireland. The island is called Inisherin.
You're gonna tell me one of these guys isn't Ed Sheeran?
No, neither of them is Ed Sheeran. It's set in the 1920s against the backdrop of the Irish Civil War. And a few of us, at least, are going to be talking about this come Oscars time. It's Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson reuniting with Martin McDonagh, who they did In Bruges with together. Martin McDonagh's last movie was 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. So basically everything he does gets nominated for a ton of stuff. And yeah, Colin Farrell's got a lot of buzz
I actually do, yeah.
to be in the
General.
best actor race. So that's going to be hopefully, yeah, because he's done a lot of good work, but hasn't, I think, ever been nominated.
Just
Oh,
to
wow.
keep track of your surefire Oscar predictions. So far, we have Tar and Banshees of Inisherin. So I'm gonna keep a running tally. We're
I
gonna
heard a
see,
lot of buzz about both of those.
Yes.
So, yep. Yeah, people are already talking about those movies.
They're
so,
both big movies by really popular directors who get nominated for tons of Oscars. So
yeah. And now's the time that all the buzz is out. Like, oh,
And yeah,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Lydia Tarr herself is in this movie, of course. Cate Blanchett.
Oh, I was like, she's not a real person.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
She's in this movie, yeah. No, well, she did the music for it. She's a composer. This is how some of how she got her EGOT.
I didn't realize Cate Blanchett was
No,
also
Lydia Tarr.
Oh.
Let's talk about the Fellowship of the Ring. As always, we have to file our disclosure forms, our previous relationship with this movie. We'll go clockwise for me so we can end on Greg. because he's the odd one out on this, of course, as we've already said. So no surprises. But I saw this in theaters. I've seen it a bunch of times since. It's just this whole trilogy is just one of the most impressive accomplishments in filmmaking ever. Love these movies.
Yeah, I'm pretty much right at the same page. I didn't see it in theaters originally, but I've seen all of the movies when they came back to theaters. I've seen this movie probably the most out of any movie besides Spirited Away and the other two.
Yeah.
Also saw it in theaters. I was just thinking like how crazy it was when the first one came out and you had to wait. Like this was when movies took like 4+ years for the next one to come out. And it was just, waiting for the Two Towers, and it completely lived up to the hype. But I'll also say the best video game adaptation of a movie that ever existed was the Two Towers game for PS2.
That was a good game.
I don't think I played it.
Can confirm.
So good.
There's a couple of good Lord of the Rings games.
I've
There
played
are,
a
yeah.
Lord of the Rings game. Like I remember from
There
being
are,
a kid
yeah.
playing
Oh, I
one of
forgot
them.
Shadow of Mordor is supposed to be really good too.
Yeah, that
It
one's
is.
awesome.
It is really good.
Yeah, so I hadn't seen this. Like I said before.
Loser.
Yeah, I know. I'm a nerd too. I should have seen this. It's something that I always meant to see, and I think it felt like a big commitment because by the time I had to see all three of these. Everyone's like, "There's the extended edition." And every time I would mention to watch it with somebody, it was always like, "We'll watch them all." I'm like, I don't really think I want to sit down and watch all these movies. This one in particular, there were definitely times where I was somewhere and I mentioned I didn't watch it, and someone put it on like, "You got to watch this." I was like, I'm not watching this movie right now. So I've actually seen the first 5 minutes of this movie like 3 times.
It's really funny.
I think the absolute like longest a movie can be that you just sort of throw on in a social settings, like 80, 90 minutes.
Yeah,
That's too
Not
long,
180.
even when I went to put this
Even
on,
that's like really dicey, and you have to know that the person's not going to punch you.
It's got to be a movie with like random jokes in there so people can just like look and laugh randomly. And then
Yeah, something that you don't want to really.
you
lock
have to
in
pay a
on.
lot of attention to this movie.
Yes.
But yeah, I didn't realize it was gonna be 3 hours either. Even when I went to throw it on yesterday, I was like, this movie's fucking 3 hours. Holy shit!
Well, that's only the theatrical version.
say-
I knew that. I was
You
like,
can
oh
make
my
it
God.
longer.
I
You
could,
can,
yeah.
you can make it longer.
I think sitting down to watch all three is
Which
like
I've
what,
done.
16+ hours?
I was
Probably close. It's the extended of this one's 348. I want to say.
Okay.
One of them's like 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
I think
it's
the last one is 5+
wow.
extended, but I'm
Holy
not
shit.
100% on that.
We'll get there.
I was pretty surprised. Almost every scene that came up in this movie, as it came up, was like, I know something that happens in this
Yep.
scene. And I really wanted. I didn't like take notes because I really wanted to just like watch this movie.
That's fair.
But I really wish I was counting because just the sheer number of memes that are from this movie. It's staggering. Like it's by far, it's probably double any other movie, which I know that's like a weird metric, but I feel like it does really speak to like the cultural impact a movie has when it's
Yeah.
like, because there's so many scenes, I was like, this, like just from like the background stuff, I'm like, this has to be that meme. Like this is gonna happen. I know what someone is gonna say at some point.
When's he going to talk about not simply walking into Mordor?
Yeah, he's gonna talk about that. You know what I mean? Oh,
he has an axe.
I was like, oh, Gandalf's lost because he's about to tell me that he has no memory of this place. I can tell by the background.
Man,
And like shit like that.
I definitely want to get into all the memes and the cultural impact. But first, how would you feel about doing a 1-minute plot summary of Fellowship of the Ring?
Oh my God, 1 minute.
I feel like he gets at least 2. I mean,
No.
No,
It
because
should be a minute
It's gonna
per
be
2
simple.
hours.
one does not simply summarize the movie.
In 1 minute. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Go whenever you're ready.
Okay, so Gandalf comes to the Shire. They're celebrating Bilbo's birthday. He's leaving. He leaves all his possessions, including the magical ring, to Frodo. It's the One Ring. Sauron's gonna come back with it. So they gotta go bring it somewhere safe. They bring it to Rivendell. It can't stay there. All the races meet up and they say, we got to destroy it. We're going to create a fellowship to do so. And they go on their mission and they start trying to bring this thing to Mordor. There's a lot of issues because the orcs and Saruman, yeah, are trying to stop them. They end up going through some mines, and eventually Frodo realizes he's going to get everybody killed if they stay with him, or the ring's going to corrupt them. So Frodo decides he's going to go on his own, and Sam is in love with him, and he's going along with him. And that's, I think, where we end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The remaining Fellowship members say, let's hunt some orc. And it's the coolest.
Oh, yeah, they go to save Merry.
the absolute coolest way to end a movie.
Yep.
So good. Yeah, you almost nailed it exactly. I think you were at like 58, 59 seconds. So good job.
That was
Hell
pretty
yeah.
good. I feel like it's a lot harder for me because I'm thinking, I'm like, all right, this one ends at which part?
Yeah. So
I'll be honest, I really thought this movie was gonna end because I obviously know the my axe scene too from memes. I would have bet money. I was like, oh, it ends with them making the fellowship. And then I guess that part I'm like, pretty sure I've only been watching this thing for like an hour.
It's like 1/3 of the way in.
It's like it was like
Yeah.
I think it was like half is probably where it was.
It's
It
slightly-
didn't feel like that because I feel like this movie kind of flies honestly for a 3-hour movie. But
yeah, I think it's like an hour 15, hour 20 when they get to Rivendell, something like that, or,
Yeah, I
or
think
actually or before that.
when they're
yeah.
having that meeting, I think it's right around that halfway mark.
Yeah. So I think you kind of already answered the question based on your plot summary, but coming in first time watch, did you follow not necessarily everything, but enough of what was happening to kind of follow the main threads?
Oh yeah, I felt like they did a really good job because I was a little concerned at first because obviously there's a lot of places they mention, but I feel like they do a really good job dropping like what you need for information. So I know like Gondor. I know they mentioned that man is all like divided, so there's not like a king because Aragorn's like the end of that bloodline. So Sean Bean's character, what's his name?
Boromir.
Yeah.
Boromir. It sounded like his dad is like the pseudo king. I forget the steward.
Steward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gondor is essentially
You'll
their
meet him.
capital. Yeah. So all that was going on, the elves and stuff. I felt like I understood all these places and what was going on and kind of like the history and stuff. I feel like there was a really lot to it. But I don't know. They do a really good job directing that to you because this movie really is mostly just these people like talking.
Did you pick up that like the elves are all just dipping?
Yeah.
Because I feel like they
Elrond said something to
Yes.
Gandalf. He's like,
The time of elves is over.
the time is over. We're leaving.
We're,
He said.
we are leaving.
We're just. I think he legit just like we're leaving, and that's when they're talking about like who's going to take the place, and like man is divided or something, and that's when they start giving that little exposition on that. But I think they do a good job where like they keep coming back to it, and they just feed you a little bit at a time, so you're not like you don't really get lost, and like they'll mention a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I don't quite know what's going on, but I like I know this is a place now, you know what I mean? And they'll come back later and be like, oh, okay, so this is like what's going on here, the king's missing and all that stuff. So they did a really good job with the way they actually put out that exposition, I think.
It's one of the most impressive things about this movie, and that's kind of like one of the spots I definitely wanted to hit was just the world building and the efficiency and knowing what not to use. And if you read the books, there's a lot that he's actually like kind of pushing together or important quotes that a character that might not even be in the movie says that he's giving to a different character to keep it in, but it sort of like spiritually all works together. And it's just adapting these books, or if you're a purist, this one really long book, just a gargantuan effort, and to do it and not make it feel heavy-handed is kind of crazy, because it's like you're saying, they really put a fine point on the stuff you need to know, and the stuff that doesn't necessarily affect how much you're going to enjoy the movie, they don't really get too into. Like I think Aragorn is on screen for like 20 minutes before anyone says that guy's named Aragorn.
Yeah, they call him Strider.
Yeah, sure.
Ranger.
The Ranger. Yeah. They mention,
And I realize that's like part of it, but that's just an example.
yeah, because they don't mention really who he is until they're all at Rivendell. Yeah, because that's when they start talking about like the king and like the bloodline and stuff like that. And at that point, I was like, oh, it's got to be Boromir or Aragorn because
Or this guy.
I was like, there's only two like humans, and they haven't told you yet. And they're both like they look at the broken sword. So at first, I thought it was going to be Boromir because he's all like upset about it. And then right after that, I tell you that it's Aragorn who's the king.
Which is what he's really upset about.
Yeah.
He's probably the character with the most names, I think, in this book. He also goes by Ellis.
Also, Boromir looks and finds this like ancient blade, which is basically like a museum piece. He immediately picks it up, touches it, drops it on the floor, leaves it there.
Whatever.
I'm like, what the
This is a
fuck,
broken
dude?
fucking
Yeah,
sword.
This isn't even your house.
Don't worry, it doesn't come back.
This is just rude.
Yeah.
That's why he died.
I think
As far as like, there's a lot of things I can tell you new about this movie. As soon as he comes on screen, I'm like, I know you die.
Sean Bean always
Sean
dies.
Bean is going down.
Somebody's just gonna make a movie where Sean Bean almost dies a bunch of times and then makes it through the end.
I wasn't sure if he was gonna make it through
No,
this
he
movie.
can't do it. He can't make it through.
No, I was like, oh, yeah, he could have made it through this movie though. I was like, oh, maybe he dies in the next one. I'm really not sure.
They go right up to the end there.
He almost makes it. Yeah.
I think we could do a full year of just movies where Sean Bean dies. Although he doesn't he doesn't die in National Treasure. He just gets arrested at the end, right?
That's true.
I
Yep,
don't
he
know why
lives.
You looked at me. I'm not a.
He does. He lives.
This is where the mic's facing, so you're gonna get a lot of questions
Same
tonight.
here, Robbie. Get ready.
Usually Greg's over there, so he knows. You're not used to it over usually in the corner. Yeah, dude, cool movie.
So like I've watched this in quite a few years at this point, and I remember like complaining like, oh, the first movie is just mostly walking, but going back and watching it, I guess maybe as like a more mature adult or whatever, I
They're
was like,
running sometimes.
they're doing a lot of like good character building, and it's much more enjoyable. I think I was just too. Where's all the action? The action's in the other one, blah blah blah. But like, no, it's a very good movie.
There's not much action in this one, honestly, and I really liked it because it's a lot of just them like talk. Like I don't know how they do it because it's a lot of talking, but it's all very interesting. Even though it's all like, I feel like it would have been easy to, I think like Ben mentioned, be like really heavy handed with this because there's a lot of stuff I don't know, so I need all this information. But I didn't feel like it was a chore to just be like, oh, I got to listen and try and piece all this shit together. Because it was really like enjoyable just to watch that. Because it was mostly talking and running.
I don't know if I'm
a lot of
using
the fights was just them running away.
the word right, but there's no like real like exposition. It's more like you just pick it up from conversations, which I
Yeah,
think
they
is a
hide it.
good like.
Rather than giving you a big
Eventually,
exposition
the
dump,
first
they
like 7 minutes is
It is
exposition.
interesting.
Okay,
One
yeah,
thing.
that's fair. That's very fair. But that's just the intro.
But what I love about that is that's Cate Blanchett doing the voiceover, and you don't actually meet her until about 2 hours and 12 minutes into the movie.
I assumed right away that she was an elf just because of the way she talked, and I
Yeah.
think they showed
they
an
show
elf
her,
in the
yeah.
beginning, yeah.
Yes, she does pop up.
But she does mention something like 3 rings were given to the elves, wisest and fairest. And I was like, oh, whoa,
I bet I was
give
like-
yourself that pat on the back.
Oh, okay.
They do live forever. I mean,
Some
Yeah.
would say the best of the races. It's like, all right, well,
Some
they're
would
getting
say the
hell out of here.
coolest.
I do love how they set the scene for the hobbits like right at the beginning, and it just looks. They make you really feel like you're a part of it. And
The whole
I like
fucking like Shire, I was like, damn, these hobbits have it figured out, huh?
Yeah.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
that,
This
the
is
whole time
sick.
I'm like, man, that's the dream.
They just fucking kick it, dude.
They're just fucking
They're just partying all the
relaxing.
time.
They're getting
Partying,
high all the time.
getting
I like
high.
Saruman, right?
Yeah.
He calls
You've
Gandalf
had
all
too
in-
much of them.
the halfling leaf or whatever.
Yeah.
You dulled your wits.
That's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the
Just hit
other
this.
wizards-
Hit this and shut up.
I like how green the whole Shire is too. Like everything's bright. I feel like you don't get that in movies a lot.
It was just New Zealand.
Yeah.
You know what the best
I
part
feel
about
like in a movie now they'd be like, let's gray it out a little.
It's got a yellow tint.
Yeah.
So the best part about all of that is they physically built all of it.
Yeah.
There's like very little like CG in a
So
lot of this
I
movie.
knew that too because I think people talk about like they still have some of the
They built multiple sets. They built a big set and a small set because
Oh yeah.
the hobbits weren't actually smaller than the humans. You know?
I heard about that too, like how
is
they
crazy.
do the force perspective
Mhm.
stuff. And I know that's what it is, but every time I see them, like I don't know how they fucking did that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
that
looks
would've been a pain
pretty
in the ass.
seamless.
Yeah,
I just can't believe they had to build the same thing twice. It's like, all right, you did that, great. Now can you do that again, just smaller?
Can you do it again, but tiny now?
So good. There's you can see any number of featurettes about this, and I think specifically the scene that I've seen the most is Bilbo letting Gandalf into the house for the first time, and him like ducking
Oh,
under the
yeah.
chandelier and stuff. And
He hit
you
the
see
set.
like they filmed the one side and then they filmed the other side on the small set, and
Yeah,
um,
but the
He hits his head at that part, right?
Yep.
On the-
Yeah,
yeah.
a chandelier.
That actually wasn't supposed to happen.
oh,
He
that's
accidentally
just
hit
Ian
his head
McKellen,
on the
they
dude.
just
beam
kept
too,
it.
yeah. But yeah, the Shire was awesome.
It's a good
uh,
Shire.
And then I don't know if it's a hot take, but then they go to Rivendell, and I was like, this is just like a shittier, pretentiouser Shire. They think they got it figured out over here, but they just fucking.
Oh, it's so elfy.
It's so elfy, yeah.
They don't smoke enough of the green.
No, Rivendell's very.
They drank,
pretentious.
but only classy wine.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah. You guys should fucking go see the Hobbits place. They have it really figured out.
It's not even like the most pretentious elfy place that they go to in this movie.
It's true. Well, the others might be more elfy, but this one I just felt like was very pretentious because how white and like marbled everything was.
It's just funny too because they're all just like fucking off, and now it's like, boy, you're just somebody's moving into these cities. I guess like you just put all this effort in here.
Yeah, and then just leaving.
Not their problem.
I know, huh? Fuck Middle Earth. Well, I guess they're probably on Middle Earth still. I don't know where they're fucking going.
So
So they're going out. I forgot what the name of it is, but it's not Middle Earth.
Yeah, fuck it. Sauron can have it.
yeah, we'll get into that, and then in the whenever we're towards the end of our third episode, we'll all be singing the Annie Lennox song from the soundtrack.
Sure.
You'll learn it. You'll love it.
I will.
Okay. Into the West, we all know it, right? Well, we all know it.
Yes.
Forgot it.
Whatever. We'll get there. It goes like that. That's basically the whole thing.
Nailed it.
So we start in Hobbiton. There's a party. Fireworks go off. And it doesn't.
Fireworks.
They're cool as fireworks. Doesn't take too long before we meet Frodo and Gandalf and our good friends Sam and Merry and Pippin. And what'd you think of all these little guys running around?
Okay. Pippin sucks, right? He's just terrible.
Fool of a took.
Yeah,
see,
fool of a
He's
took.
one of my favorite characters.
He gets more.
He's so fun.
gets better, yeah.
He's not good in this movie. He every time I'm like, holy shit, you just killed everybody. Everything he does.
Oh, a Baggins. That guy over here. He's going by Underhill for some reason. I don't know.
Yes, like why?
You gotta wait for his redemption arc.
I was like,
Yeah.
I know he's got to have something. I'll be
Yeah.
shocked. But yeah, and then in the mines he fucking knocks the thing. Yeah, he's just a
It's
disaster.
messed up.
She's like, dude, you've seen like 1,000 arrows.
He's a
and
fire.
you
He likes
gotta
the
touch
fire.
this one.
Yeah,
He's like someone who nothing's bad has ever really happened to him, so
Sure.
they just keep acting up. Like someone just needs to punch him and be like, he's like, oh, whoa, yeah, all right.
I also like Bilbo's birthday party is just fucking roaring music, these fireworks that turn into fucking animals and stuff, and they mention half the Shire's invited. And I was like, well, the other half isn't fucking sleeping. That's for goddamn sure.
What the heck?
Man, I really wish I got invited to that party.
That party looks fun.
That's the first instance of FOMO.
Yeah, that party looks really fucking sick. I wish I wasn't a dick to Bilbo.
Honestly, knowing the hobbits, like the ones that didn't go were probably just like more annoyed than anything. Like, oh, well, stupid party I didn't want to go to. And now I got to deal with these goddamn fireworks.
I didn't know the wizard was coming. It was- but yeah, so they take off towards Bree, who
Yeah,
has a doorman who usually a pretty thankless job, I assume, but he fucking gets murked.
He gets fucked.
He gets
up.
stabbed a lot.
Yeah, I forgot that.
That's the one where they just keep stabbing him.
No,
right?
that's the
No,
one
he just
where
gets a door gets fallen
door
on
just
him.
Oh, yep,
flattens
yep.
him.
There's someone around there that also gets stabbed a bunch of times.
No, that's just the beds.
Yeah, the fake. They
Remember?
put like the piles of laundry on the
Oh,
beds.
Yes, that's how
I
they
thought
were gonna
stabbed
kill them
one
all.
person, too.
Which that was a cool scene, but I was like, I don't think they're all about to get stabbed.
Yeah.
All right, that was
Good. What'd you think of the Nazgul, the ring wraiths?
Oh, they were wicked cool. I really, really like them. I like when they show you like what they look like in that they say it was like a shadow realm or
Yeah.
something. I
Yeah.
forget what it was.
I'm pretty sure.
the Shadow Realm.
I'm
It's
pretty sure
something
this
like
is
that.
a,
It's the one
a
from
correct
Yu-Gi-Oh.
fun fact.
I was
The
gonna say
dude
Shadow, but it's-
that played Golem also did like some of the voices for the Nazgul.
That makes sense. Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like them a lot. Like I said, I like the way they look when Frodo puts on the ring. There's a lot of times where Frodo almost dies, and I've never seen the movies before, but I know he's not gonna die.
Oh, what about the like I'm about to nut face when he's like
that
Wanna
I was
put on
like,
the ring?
I've seen this face before. I was like, this is like a meme or a gif or something.
God damn it, Pippin, stop
yeah,
it.
Yeah, I was like, this is a weird one.
Oh, that's not how I was expecting that to go.
Yeah, so I saw that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sam.
Yep.
Like I said, there was a lot of shit that I knew. The wizard's he arrives when he means to.
Yeah.
Them talking about second breakfast.
Go ahead, keep your secrets.
Go ahead, keep your secrets. Yep. Yeah.
I forgot how early into the movie that is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like immediately.
That's like 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
Which
Cast it into the fire. Like, no.
True.
Why shouldn't I keep it? Yeah, well, Bilbo. Yeah, there's all this.
That's also the first few minutes of the movie.
My question is like, why in the very beginning Elrond didn't just like push that fucker into the
I
fire?
was wondering that too.
It just, I think it's just he's like, oh, I guess I'm not evil. It's like, okay, but you know the ring's the most evil thing in the world. You could do a little bit of evil.
I assumed he couldn't either, right?
That's actually probably the answer, to be honest with
well, then
you.
they couldn't make the movies.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
I'm
more
just
like,
kidding. I'm joking.
you know what I mean? Like he couldn't get himself to like,
to temptation. would've been too
yeah,
strong.
and I like, yeah, nobody really wants to destroy the ring. You know what I mean?
That's the answer.
Because like the ring could be yours one day if you don't destroy it, especially if you live forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He already had his ring.
What did you think about
He's
the
got one of the Elven ones.
when
I figured.
when Gandalf gets angry at Bilbo when he like doesn't
Oh.
wanna get rid of the ring?
I knew that one too because that's a meme. I'm not
that
trying
is
to
a
help.
meme,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not trying to rob you. I'm trying to
But
help you.
that
But that
got-
was real cool
It
the
got
way everything goes
intense real
dark.
quick.
Because especially at that point too, like I don't. They hadn't really been clear on what Gandalf could do. Really, like he had, I don't
Mostly
think
just light off fireworks.
all he had done was light off fireworks. He makes a smoke boat. So
it doesn't really get much more clear. He
yeah,
just
by the end of the
does
movie, it wasn't
whatever
very
he
clear. I
wants.
was like, oh, he's a wizard. He can do wizard things.
Yeah.
But that was cool because it's like very much. That was like the most he had done so far, and it just looked really cool. And then I like that. So in that scene, he gets angry, and when they get to Rivendell, Bilbo gets mad about the ring. He turns like all fucking crazy and evil and like spiky teeth and shit. And I was like, oh,
You
that's
know
really
they
cool.
Completely recreated a face, like a like rubber face for that scene.
Really, I mean, that
Yeah.
scene looked really good. Like everything in this movie looks
All
really
that
good.
for
I could
like
not.
2 seconds.
It's really hard to tell what is like CGI and stuff in this movie.
It's mostly not, which is crazy.
And this was like what, 2001, something like
They-
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a lot of
They
scenes
could've.
where Saruman's like tower where the camera flies in and then goes down underneath to where they're working with like the orcs and goblins and making the Urukai or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
You got it.
And when they're flying, it's like this. A lot of this has to be CGI, but I was like, I don't know. Maybe they're doing something. I don't know because
Yeah.
even that looks really nice.
So
Still,
Even the eye, it's real.
yeah, that was
Just-
practical.
wow.
Down there, like they have giant spiders. Anything's possible.
They probably could have put like a camera on a rope and like had it. Do you know what I mean?
They could have, but like they would have to build all that shit, and I was like, most of this stuff isn't built. I was like, but they might have
No,
built
they,
some stuff.
they dug the whole tunnels and the floor.
I think it's easier if they build like a general shape and then like CGI
I've
over
seen the
things.
spiders in Australia. Those are real.
I watched this on the not yet.
There
Oh,
weren't
I
any
thought that was
spiders.
at the end,
Not yet.
yeah. Oh, never mind.
So I watched this on the.
spiders.
I started watching it on HBO Max, and then remembered, hey, I got when it was on a super deep sale recently, the 9-disc 4K of the trilogy. So I watched that instead, and in 4K there is the CGI is quite obvious, but it is impressive how little it's used. When it does show up, it's like, yeah, whatever. It's 21 years old. You can
It's like
You
the
can forgive
massive
it.
armies
Who
and stuff like
cares?
that.
Yeah, stuff like that. When you actually see people, jumping when they're in the mines of Moria and whatnot. The Balrog is real though, that's for sure. But yeah, it's not so much how things look, it's more movement based stuff.
Gotcha.
There's one landscape shot where they're walking by some ruins that are very clearly just like CGI. The texture looks like if you have it like render shapes in Google Earth. But aside from that, it looks really good. And one of the things that I love that they do is if it's a wide shot or like a faraway shot of the hobbits, they just use little people
Yeah.
who have completely different body proportions from the actual actors in close up. And it's just like, well, whatever.
Once you
That's a
know,
simple
you
fix.
can't unsee it.
That's really funny.
It's a simple fix, I guess.
I was just like, a lot of the work they did on these movies was just like absolutely groundbreaking at the time.
Oh,
though.
yeah. Well, they were inventing stuff. The CGI gets better as the movies go on because they were inventing it.
Oh,
and
shit.
so, and they filmed them all at the same time, basically.
I knew that this was like one of the first, if not the first movie to do that, where they were just like, we're going to greenlight all three, film them all together because it saved a shitload of money.
Yes.
Because you don't have to keep going to like
Yeah.
different locations
They, like,
when you're like, we'll
lived in
film
New
like
Zealand
parts of all three
For a
movies
while.
to stay in one spot. And like, yeah, it saved them a shitload of money, but you're taking the gamble on like if one bombs, you just wasted hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
The
And
books were so popular, they knew it couldn't bomb.
so
I mean, it was a good gamble. It paid out.
Yeah.
the effects company is called Weta, WETA. It's in New Zealand and it's still there. And so essentially they film these all at the same time. One comes out a year later. By the time they're working on Return of the King, they've had 3 years to work on that one because they all filmed at the same time. But that one's been in post-production while the other ones were also in post-production and getting released years apart. So
I was just say, I
that's
feel
why
like
it
they
looks better as it goes on.
they had a decent amount of time in between releases, though, didn't they?
No, they were boom, boom, boom.
Guess
I
I was
think,
just younger and time moved slower.
Yeah.
Because
Everything took forever.
I think comes out in like 2005.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
it's probably 135.
Gotcha.
That's impressive.
I think.
Well, I mean,
Or
let's
does it come out
do it while
Ben's
we're
fact
here,
checking.
right?
Yeah, because 2001 was fifth grade.
No, I was
just
going
a
to say
baby.
they were all back-to-back years.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Oh shit.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But they all filmed at the same time, so they could do that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But each successive one was in post-production for a year longer, so the CGI looks better.
That would never happen these days. I could never see a trilogy get filmed all at once.
Well, look what happened with Denis Villeneuve in Dune. They didn't greenlight 2 until after 1 came out and was successful. So now we have to wait years in between. We are less than a year from Dune 2 coming out, apparently.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Should probably watch June 1.
For some reason,
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to get better and not being like, well, fuck you for not watching it yet. I'm trying to be like, oh, lucky for you.
Sorry
you
for having other hobbies.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to watch a cool movie.
For some reason, I thought there was another movie in recent times that did the Lord of the Rings treatment where they filmed multiple of them at once. But
Might have been The Hobbit.
You're thinking of Avatar.
was it Avatar?
They filmed 2 and 3 together.
Oh man.
Oh,
So
yes.
2 and 3 are definitely coming out. They haven't even you
All
know
12 hours.
Cameron, they haven't greenlit 4 or 5 yet, but he wants to make 4 or 5. But 2
I'll
and
watch
3
it.
are already filmed, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will also watch it, but
I'll go to theaters.
thin ice.
Absolutely.
I liked Avatar.
I'll be
a
there opening weekend in IMAX.
I'll skip it, and then when you do the Avatar episodes, you can have somebody.
Good luck finding
Very
someone
funny.
that hasn't seen the first one though. You've seen the first
I've
one at
seen the
least.
first
yeah.
one.
I've
Yeah.
seen it like 5 times.
It's I went to see the re-release of the first one, and we probably talked about it before, but I might not have talked about it with all of you. I went to see the re-release when they did it in IMAX 3D just like a month ago. Awesome. The only reason that IMAX 3D, like, I guess exists, but it makes it work. So cool. Something happens on their way to Rivendell, though, with Gandalf.
Yes.
And you don't get the full picture of his wizard fight with Saruman until he's retelling it later after they get to Rivendell, and he's like, I was delayed.
Oh, yep.
Just a couple old dudes beating each other up.
Oh, I love that wizard fight when he's making him spin around and stuff.
Yeah, the part where he's like it looks like basically something's got his leg and he's like spinning around. I was like, oh, that's really cool. But yeah, I like that a lot too. And even the stuff with like the orb, I forget what they called it, but where he's like, oh, we don't know where they all are. You don't know who's looking and stuff. And I was like, and they're closing the doors and shit.
Yep.
And I knew like that there was something. I think I knew that guy was evil. I was like, there's something about this guy.
Yeah.
He gives off major evil vibes anyway.
That's Christopher Lee, who is best known for playing villains. He's Count Dooku,
Yes.
which is a reference to him being Count Dracula in the classic Hammer horror
Harem?
version of Dracula from like the 70s or whatever. But he's in a ton of stuff. He was in the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka movie also as Willy's dad. But yeah, so he's always plays evil guys.
Yeah.
So it's funny when they like for 2 minutes and then they're like, you know, this guy's evil. We're not going to string him out.
we don't know.
All right, let's have them fight.
I knew Gandalf would get off the tower in the Eagles because I feel like people talk about the Eagles a lot.
You know what's interesting? Did you notice like there's 2 wizards, but you don't see any like flashy magic?
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, because like I said, even at that point,
Yeah.
like the most Gandalf had done was he like darkened the house and like it got almost like storming when he got mad. And then it was this where all they're really doing is they can like push each other and move each other and do like almost like telekinesis kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess Peter Jackson doesn't like wizards and like flashy magic, so that's why it like turned out that way, which is like super interesting because I noticed when I watched it, I'm like, they're not like, you don't see like a lightning bolt or like
fireball.
fire.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah,
like,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
that the
did some
tech
research.
was there as well. Like it's good he didn't really try to do
Yeah.
that because I don't think it would have looked nearly as
No, it would
good.
have looked cheesy.
See, I liked it a lot too because they don't do a lot of like flashy like combat magic, but then they do other things that are really cool. Because like that next scene is where he like grabs the moth. And he like
Oh,
whispers
yeah.
to it. And I was like, oh shit. Because I knew he got away on eagles, but I didn't know he's going to find a fucking moth, whisper some secrets to it, and it's going to go fucking find some big eagles to come pick him up. And I was like, that's like really like, I don't know how you think of like, that's going to be how magic works. You know what I mean?
It's more of like a natural connection with the world instead of just like a forceful
yes.
dominion over.
And I like
is
that
cool.
a lot, honestly. I think that's really, really cool.
He's also limited in how much like impact he can have on, because like we were saying, he's not like he's a not a god, but a demigod. And
Yeah.
if he were to like use too much, then he'd get in trouble.
His dad would be unhappy.
Yeah.
They never get into
You're
any of that in
grounded
the
for
movies, but
10,000
that's,
years.
like, the background, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
The forces of evil can directly interfere. The forces of good have to just kind of nudge.
Wow, lucky.
Yeah, right? It's great.
Yeah. That's why he's so against like being that directly, like he won't take the ring. He won't just like attack enemies.
I didn't even, well, I knew that he mentions like the ring that it's like if it corrupts him, it's going to be a big problem.
Real
Also
big problem.
true. Which Galadriel recognizes eventually too, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
No, I love all this stuff with Saruman and Isengard.
So one
top of the
criticism for
tower.
JR is Sauron and Saruman. Like
That was the
name
one
in
thing
the
I had the hardest
world.
problem with in the whole
That's tough. Yeah, that's
thing is that it's Sauron. Sauron is the main villain and Saruman's the evil wizard.
I remember having a problem with that when I was younger too, and I was just like, dude, you made these names up. You could have picked anything.
Yeah, those are the ones that kind of confused me, but I was like, it doesn't matter too much.
If that's my only criticism, I feel like it's pretty generous.
Yep. And then one other thing happens on the way to Rivendell is they meet up with Arwen, who takes Frodo and runs and
That
makes
was
the horse
really
water.
cool. Yeah, the horse water was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And all the dudes fucking get swept away. And they stop at the water too. And I was like, oh, is this like what is it? Sleepy Hollow, like they can't cross the water kind of thing. Like they can't go across the water. And then they just go, and I was like, "Oh, okay, no, they can." And then the big wave comes, like, "Oh, okay, they didn't want to. It's dangerous to cross the water." I see.
They can't swim.
I was like, I see what happened here.
Yeah, they don't want to mess with an elf surrounded by natural anything.
Yes. But yeah, I like that a lot, and that's another time where Frodo's like fucking dying again.
Frodo's mostly making that face in this movie.
Frodo's having a tough time.
Yeah, I liked Frodo a lot, but out of all the characters, he is just sad and mopey and like dying. That's like his whole thing through this whole movie. Well, the first like hour actually, he's kind of cheerful and like has like a personality, but after that, it's like they keep mentioning like there's like a lot of struggle to carry the ring and stuff, and he shows the weight of it good because it is.
He does, yeah.
It takes a fucking toll on this poor guy.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I haven't had a drink in a party in 4 years.
I
do
mean,
you know how old Frodo was when he left?
It's like 50, right?
Yes, and who was 33? Was it Sam? He's like pretty old.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like as far as like hobbits go.
yeah.
But yeah, so Elijah Wood cast because he's got those huge eyes.
Yes, holy
Big
crap!
old sad eyes.
Yeah,
And he does a great job.
a lot of shots of his face, and you're just like, damn, those are big eyes.
One of the things I was thinking about this time, and I guess it makes sense, Tolkien, obviously British, but it's just funny. Like, it's fantastical, but everyone does, like, you just know, like, oh, it's fantastical, so everyone does a British accent.
yes.
When it's like, I mean, Frodo, Sam, Aragorn, all American. Didn't have to be British.
It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem. Liv Tyler, obviously American. That she's a huge part of it. But,
Oh, Sheila Elf.
Arwen, yeah. Kate Blanchett's Galadriel. She's Australian. But everyone, it's just, the basic of fantasy storytelling. Everyone has a British accent.
Of course. All the fantasy stuff happens in Britain. In America, they just have guns.
This is true. That's how you'd know. Yeah, I marked it down. It's an hour and 28 minutes until someone says Aragorn out loud.
Yeah. But yeah, them getting to Rivendell, I feel like is interesting too, because I feel like that's when they start showing you that like all these characters are already connected and stuff. Because Gandalf fucking knows everybody right off the bat. He knows all.
He knows who their dad was.
Yes. And then Arwen is in love with Aragorn.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Very
So
much
they talk about they've had some kind of previous relationship and they're in love and whatnot.
There's
Just
also
kind of creepy. I mean, a little groomer, right?
I said as soon as that scene came on, Ray was with me and I went, "This is giving me some serious licorice pizza vibes."
well, she's like 3 times his age, right?
At least
300.
they don't
300
mention it, but her dad was there 3,000 years ago. So
Yeah.
She's
I mean,
probably at least like
age
20
is a
times his
number?
age.
Question mark?
Yeah, true enough.
I mean, Frodo's 50 and he looked
he looks good for 50.
14.
I guess that's supposed to be like that's how much she loves him, is like she's lived for 2,000 years, but like just 50 with him would be enough. It's okay, if you say so.
I mean,
Seems crazy to me.
I also kind of get it. You've been around for a couple millennia. You're like, I mean,
You've done
Yeah.
it all.
we're okay with this, right? We're good.
We saw all the
Let's
elves. They
end
were
with a
pretentious
flourish.
dicks. You're like, oh my
Yeah.
god, a real person.
Yeah, let's end with a flourish, maybe. 50 years with this guy, and then
But
we're gonna call it.
I had mentioned it already, but I did really like the scene when Frodo's like gets to talk to Bilbo again, and Bilbo's like giving him all his shit, and he gets the sting, and he gives him the mithril armor, and then he
what a
turns
fit.
into the weird goblin.
It's really funny because like The Hobbit is the prequel, but even the book was written after The Lord of the Rings. So like all of those little like, I guess, breadcrumbs he gives you, that's just how he wrote and like intended everything to be. Was like, there was this really cool thing, it involved a dragon, this is this mythical armor and a dope ass sword.
Oh yeah,
No
keep-
backstory.
Got the ring from
Yeah.
a dude named Gollum, and
That's all you need to know. Anyways, this is a different story.
Yeah, we didn't even mention that. I do really like because they don't give a lot, and like I actually saw the first Hobbit movie
Okay.
in theaters. So like I know like a little bit of that story. Even not, I don't think they do much in that first movie, but I really like them.
you get to see them wash dishes for 20 minutes.
You do,
That was a great scene.
but I do like them going through and like giving you those little breadcrumbs. Like they keep talking about the stories, and he tells the kids about the trolls, and then the trolls show up later.
Such good world building.
Yeah, it
To
does.
just have them there. Oh, so good.
And they don't even mention it. The trolls are just in the background at one point. I'm like,
Oh, well,
those are the trolls he was talking about.
Frodo's like dying at the time after
Yes.
getting hit with the Morgul blade.
Yes.
Anyway, so this is where they form the Fellowship of the Ring.
Then, like I said, yep, that's where I thought the movie was going to end.
There's an
They
absolute
say
And then it
Fellowship of the
started.
Ring.
yeah. And Leo points at the screen
Title
and
screen.
like, yeah.
Yes.
There's an amazing moment here from Ian McKellen, who have we mentioned? Gandalf's played by Sir Ian McKellen. You might have seen him in Cats going meow meow meow.
Unfortunately,
He's
we did watch that at my place
we did, yeah.
for hours.
It was like 20 minutes.
It felt like hours.
Yeah, we wasn't sober
It was
at the
like
time.
a good. It was
It
probably
was a
closer to
while.
like 45.
Yeah, it probably was.
And the whole time was just me going, "Is what?"
That's
It's
like
not
his
fun.
famous role. When I saw him come up in this, I was like, Ray, that's the Cats guy.
Yeah, and this and Magneto just prelude to his real cultural impact with.
Cats, yep.
He's the old cat. That's his thing, but not Judi Dench. She's also an old cat, but he's a different. Oh, whatever.
Dame Judi Dench and
My
Sir
bad, my
Ian
bad.
McKellen.
Oh God, I can't think about
Cats.
that really anymore. So Ian McKellen has an amazing, just a great moment when they're all arguing and Frodo stands up and he says like, "I'll carry the ring." And
So good.
you see Gandalf hear him say it before he turns around. He just like, this is like everything that he didn't want to happen, but he knows he can't stop it and this has to happen.
Yep.
And that plays across his face in like half a second.
That scene is so good.
Yeah.
Such like a good mixture of like pity, but also like heart war. You know,
Yeah,
like
it's a lot of warmth.
it was just
Right.
it was very warm, but at the same time, you knew it like kind of broke him a little bit.
Yeah.
and he portrayed
It's
that
heartbreaking. It
excellently.
is.
I noticed that right away in that scene. I was like, oh my God, Gandalf's like crushed by this. But he had also is like, yep, this is what's going to happen.
And just like super impressed, like, wow, all of these assholes are just fighting, and this
little
fucking half
hobbit.
of a person
Yes.
is just like, all right, I'll do it, jackasses. Like, honestly,
That was like such a good scene. And they all like ignore him at first too. He has to say it like 3 times.
they set it up so well too. Where and like even Frodo, I think, knew at that point because Sam's like, we're done, we've did our part, we can go home. And
Yeah.
just-
He's already said like, I'm tired. I can't wait to like get back to the Shire. I think I marked it down. It's an hour 19 in where he's like, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like even when he says that to Sam, I don't know if you got this, but I got the feeling that like his character was just like, yeah, Sam, we're gonna go home. Like it felt
Yeah.
like he knew, like, yeah,
Like they
He-
went
he
through all
probably-
that whole journey there, which was pretty long, and then like, what? He's just gonna go back while everyone's saving the world.
That is like the last part where Frodo has any dialogue that's like remotely happy.
The rest is
Yeah.
me and Stab it again.
Yes.
I do like, I think the Frodo character is really good.
He
does
he's
have to-
he's really, really good.
I think his scene with Galadriel, we're not there yet, but where he's like, I know what I have to do, and then he actually like carries it out, and that's a cool
real
move.
goat. The real goat is Sam. Let's be
Yes.
real. Without
Yeah.
Sam,
Sam's right.
Frodo's fucked.
How many times did he say, "Don't you lose him, Samwise"? Sam says that line like 5 times.
Yeah, and I like that they both sound so whiny with the British accents that they're doing, but.
I like that Sam's just always hiding in bushes places. So he's a real creep.
What did
like,
you
everyone
overhear?
knows it.
What did you overhear? Nothing. Well, just like everything, but like
And
nothing
something
important.
about
You guys
Dark
didn't
Lord
talk
and
about.
the end of the world.
And he's
and-
just so
So,
honest.
there was
He's
no
like,
comments
"Wow."
about breakfast or anything, though. It was just.
And then he says same because he hides at the secret council meeting too.
Of course, he'd be at the secret council meeting.
And Merry and Pippin are in that scene too, I think.
That would
Yeah.
actually caught Elrond off guard. I was like, these assholes.
Yeah, I think Hugo Weaving there does look like what?
Like he expected Sam, but I don't think he. Yeah, it was good.
What a fun, like, if we don't ever cover anything else that Hugo Weaving, who plays Elrond in this, is in, it'd be great that we've done, I think, 6 episodes on movies that he's in.
Well, he is
Yeah.
also just in all of the movies. So
Well, that's true. But between I guess we only did 2 Matrix episodes, but after this, there'll be 5 episodes he's been in.
Stuff.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do V for Vendetta someday. I don't know.
Wait, who is he in that?
He's V.
Really?
Yep. He's under the mask.
You don't see the face.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's his
I was
face.
gonna say you didn't see that scene.
I was like, okay, I didn't know if there was like a. Did they take it off at the end, or do you
Yeah,
just
and he
not?
goes, Mr. Anderson, and then he dies.
They take it off the end, but I don't think they show his face.
It's the prequel to the Matrix.
Yeah, and you see like there's a flashback where it's just like after being burned.
Yes.
You can see he's just like burned to hell, so he wouldn't look like anything anyway.
Oh, gotcha.
Look like Deadpool under there.
yeah.
That's
Uh,
also Hugo.
Yep. That's who. Anyway,
But again, too, as soon as they make the fellowship and they're talking about where they're gonna go, that's another interesting one because they're just naming places and explaining why they can go this way or can't go that way. And I can't tell you all the places, but I know where some of them are. Because like
yeah,
Boromir wants to take that pass that goes near Gondor because he's got a
Gondorian,
big
yeah.
he's got a big boner for Gondor. He's all about Gondor.
Oh yeah.
And then they're talking about the going up the mountains, and then obviously there's the mines through the mountains. So they like mention all the places, and I was like, oh, I have an idea of like where all these places are in the routes and like why they want to take this one or not this one. and
Yeah.
stuff.
it's really well done.
You do
Yeah.
a good job with that.
And yeah, I mean, the whole thing's about a journey, so it's really important that you have in your mind situated like, oh, well, that's over there, and it'll be hard because of this.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they actually go to the mines of Moria, then eventually have to go through them, even after they've gone there, they still try to leave.
Yeah.
And you just know anytime it's brought up, it like zooms in on Gandalf's face and he's like, I don't fucking want to go there, guys.
I love too that like I was gonna say, you know, like why doesn't Gandalf just say, you know, Moria's fucked or whatever? But you know, as soon as he tried to do it, Balin or Gimli would just be like, "No, it's not. How could you say?" Like it would just be a whole thing. Like nobody would believe him. Like he'd just be like, "I really don't think it's gonna be great there." Like he doesn't necessarily know everyone's dead. He just knows that they like awoke something. So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not really like a plot hole because he's like, what are they? They're just gonna be all shitty about this.
So Saruman like strongly implies that Gandalf knows the Balrog's there. And then at the point where like they are fucked on the mountain, he's like, the ring bearer must choose or something like that. And I'm like, you tell him about the Balrog first, right? Let him know maybe.
It's funny on this watch. I had the same impression as you that like he really doesn't want to hurt Gimli's feelings. Anytime Mines of Moria comes up, he's like, he should let Frodo decide.
Probably. I mean, at that point, there was like, what are they going to try to go to the mountain that he's going to bring down? Like, you
Yes,
got to try.
he's
to go to
literally
the
like
mountain.
literally their mountain they're on is going to crumble.
Yeah,
Gimli would not let it go if he knows.
they
He's
had
like, I'm gonna
already given
get
up
an
on the mountain
earful
at
for
that point.
3 weeks.
Their choice of the path that
Yeah, go.
Boromir wants to take that they said goes right by Saruman's tower.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it goes right by Saruman's tower, or they can take the mines. So I think the mines are probably even the better choice, right?
Anyways.
You can't.
Yeah.
I guess they don't know exactly what's going on at the tower, but we know it is not good yet.
Most of around the tower is just gone. So, like, it's just a big open field now or big dangerous OSHA hazard.
Yes, yes.
Oh man.
I do love too that Gimli like didn't even believe his cousin was dead until he physically saw the two. Like he's surrounded by corpses, and he's like
Maybe
"Oh,
your cousin's fine.
he is dead. Yeah, man, everyone's dead.
That whole bit is it comes like pretty late in the movie, but it just becomes this awesome sequence where the tension's ratcheting up. Like Gimli's like very sad. Gandalf starts reading the book. Drums from the deep.
Yo,
Yeah, they're coming, and it's right then where
I like
Pippin.
even you can't read the writing, but you can see like how he scrawled
Yeah.
off like
Yeah.
that was just such a good like
yeah, and it's just like terrifying. And then that's when Pippin knocks it's Pippin, right?
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
knocks the
Pippin fucks everything.
the very heavily armored skeleton down the thing.
And
Yeah.
it like drags a bucket with it too
Yeah.
after just the
and like they wait and they're like, oh, we're in the clear, and that's when
And
he
you hear
calls
the
him a fool, and
yeah.
then like right
drums.
afterwards just drums in the deep, and you're like, oh, that's
And
such
then-
a cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. And they're closing the door and like they've got a troll.
Yep. I've got a cave troll. Great fight.
Before that, my question though is like, what the hell was that thing doing in that lake? Where is its food sources? Like, there's no way enough
Well,
stuff comes by that. it
I
can
don't
feed
think it bodes well for Bill the pony.
them. No.
I was very glad actually they sent Bill away because I didn't want to watch Bill die.
no.
He'll be fine. He knows the way home.
They should have sent him home before that if no one else has horses.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
there's
just
no reason for Bill to come.
I completely forgot about him for the longest time because like he's not in any of the mountain scenes. He's not there when like they're hiding from
Well,
the
if you watch
birds.
the extended edition, it's clear that Bill's like the star of this movie.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's 50 minutes just Bill.
Oh shit! I wish I watched the extended edition now.
Yeah.
Fly too.
He flies.
He flies. Yeah.
Guess we're gonna have to watch all 3 extended editions
When
in one day.
Gandalf says "Fly, you fools," he means go get Bill.
Yeah.
Bill's a Pegasus.
Bill's a Pegasus.
Oh, we just ruined the.
Oh, because
third
he comes
movie.
back later.
He comes
he
back
picks
later.
Frodo up and they just drop the ring into the mountain.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, he just tosses it in on the way by and he goes, "Thanks,
Starshine
Bill."
shows up, and the other ponies.
Oh my god.
Shadowfax is like, damn, I wish I was that cool.
What'd you think of the Balrog scene?
Oh, that was really, really cool. That's once again too Gandalf's casting spells, I guess. I don't know what he's doing, but it was real cool. He's chanting random things. He's got like some kind of shield going on.
It's literally like when he says he's a demon from another age, he means he's literally a demon. So like Gandalf is literally the force of good, and that guy
Yes.
is. So I don't even think it was so much of a spell as like you can't harm me.
Oh,
You know what I like?
He was just letting his like good light shine a little stronger, but
Something like that.
I like even before that they get surrounded by all the orcs, and then like you see the fire from it, and all the orcs just like leave.
They don't address it, but those are actually goblins.
Oh, is those are
The
goblins?
green with the big eyes are
Oh,
goblins.
yeah, I know. Those were the two main antagonists before the end. Is goblins and orcs.
Those are the ones that actually cleared out the mines. I don't know what those random orcs were doing there in the caves because there was orcs before that.
Yeah.
But when they get surrounded, they're like crawling down.
because they're like, oh, it's goblins, but then like when they're actually getting attacked, they're like orcs.
orcs.
Yeah,
Like-
see, yeah. So the fight scene was with orcs, right?
Yes.
So I just assumed those things were orcs as well, but I was like, oh, it's weird that they like crawl on the walls. I would have thought that was like a goblin thing.
Yep. Yeah. No, those ones are goblins.
But yeah, all of them like run
Oh
off.
right, yeah, when they're coming like down from the ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They look like
they're
a swarm
running.
of ants. They did
Yes.
a really good job.
Yeah.
Of
Yes, but yeah, the scene before where they fight off the orcs is like one of the only like fight scenes, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Aragorn like fought the Nazgul a little bit. Mostly, he just fucking
Yeah.
hit him with torches.
Yeah.
And then they have that fight scene, and they have one more later on. Every other time they have like an issue, there's like run. There's a lot.
It's good. It's
There's
good
too many
advice.
It's smart. Yeah, it's usually always better to run for
Yes.
self-defense.
When I was like thinking
From
back,
playing
and-
D&D, it's sometimes you got to run.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I'm
We
glad
never
because
run.
when I was like thinking back on the movie, I was like, man, they always are so good at fighting, and they take out so many, like it's always so many guys. And then like rewatching it, I'm like, okay, well, this is a team of the literal best fighters in the world against some dudes that were pulled out of the ground and given the cheapest shit you could possibly equip them with. So like, yes, it's going to look like that's not even that unrealistic. Like that is what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
It's like playing a video game, but then you're playing against all the people that just started, and you're just like, wow, this is easy.
They probably would have had a hard time against those cave goblins though, because
There's just too many of them.
well, and they actually were like they've been fighting for a while. You know, they weren't just like brand new.
Oh yeah, they destroyed like a city's worth of dwarves
Dwarves.
who were also fairly tough.
Right. But even them were not fucking with the Balrog.
No. Yeah. So Balrog pops up, and this is one of the times where, man, yeah, I don't know what they're doing, but that looks great.
Yeah, the Balrog
that whole thing looks great.
awesome. Obviously, I knew like most of what was happening in that scene just because it has a
Yep,
very
it's very
big
famous.
cultural footprint. Yeah, you shall not pass.
Did you expect the whip?
Yeah, because I knew Gandalf died there.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think I knew exactly how he was like what was going to happen, but as he's falling, you can see the whip. I'm like, oh, he's going to grab him because I knew Gandalf doesn't like make it off that bridge.
Gotcha.
Which
That's disappointing because I do remember like thinking he was gonna get away at that point, and then like
There's
the
just-
whip
Yeah,
snaps
I
up.
do remember being like, oh my God.
Honestly,
I
like-
felt just like Sam and Frodo afterwards.
almost
Yes.
every scene I knew something from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like almost because they all have
It's a very
like,
famous movie.
it's very it probably like I said I think it probably has the biggest cultural impact on any movie.
When they got to the end with Sean Bean too, you probably have seen the meme with him shot like 3 times in the chest as well. So
yeah,
like,
so I knew he died by getting hit with a bunch of arrows.
Yeah.
Once they get to that foresty area, I knew Sean Bean was going to die because it's like in this foresty area.
Yep.
I didn't realize Sean Bean. Well, I knew Sean Bean was going to get corrupted because they hint at it. But prior to that, I didn't know like that Sean Bean was going to go after the ring.
That's gonna
Yep.
be.
In between, they go see the Lady of the Woods.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I'm just trying to, whatever. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
It helps me remember shit actually because I feel
Yep.
like there's so many scenes.
Lady of the Wood, aka Galadriel. Did you pick up on that being her name? I think she says it about herself once.
I had it on subtitles, so
Oh, okay.
I knew that it was Galadriel. I just wasn't exactly sure how to pronounce it because I think they do only say it like one time.
Yeah.
I was like 90% sure watching Rings of Power that was who it was, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to like Google. I was glad like when it came up. I'm like, okay, I wasn't losing my mind.
Yeah. The Rings of Power spin-off series is about Galadriel.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
interesting.
When
Yeah,
she's
she
pretty
was
badass.
interesting because they start off with Gimli telling you like there's an evil witch here kind of thing, and then you see her and like the elves are a little like forceful,
me.
and she can like talk to in through your mind. So I was like, oh, she doesn't seem very evil, and then obviously she meets with Frodo and he offers her the ring, and she does her like fucking crazy evil witch speech, and then she's like, nah.
Instead of a dark
That's
lord,
why
you
it's so
could
hard
have
to
a
date
queen.
because you never know. They seem all great, and then that's all it takes.
That's how the ring works, though. Like she wasn't actually like evil at all. Gimli's just a dwarf.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I was like, it's just the ring.
Everything's wrong if you're not a dwarf.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of time, especially in this movie, but just throughout that,
Even though
you're
there's
like,
only one dwarf.
we
I
can't
think.
go there. That place sucks.
In
It's
the
like, well,
whole
it's just not
movie.
your place.
Yeah.
I really liked
Yeah.
her speech though. I thought it was like very well like done, and just like the way she frames everything. Like, behold my like it's good things that she's saying in a skin. Then like it'll be like a string of good things, and then like it ends with like my terrible pure power. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know.
It kind of reminded me of
As
like
treacherous as the sea,
yeah,
right?
yeah. There was just such good imagery in it.
it was the way she talks about herself reminded me a lot about what Gandalf says about himself when he goes to touch the ring. Things about like he is not as like fancy with his words about it, but him saying like, oh, I would try to use it for good. Like I would do things that I thought was good.
Yeah.
And like the way she talks about it, like it almost seems like she's like, well, I'm not gonna be evil, but you know,
Yeah.
we can vanquish some people.
Just like, I'm just gonna be the most powerful being in the world, and of course, some
Yeah.
people aren't gonna like that. And
She's gonna disappear some journalists. Maybe.
Yeah.
Just on the weekends.
Yeah. So yeah, I liked her speech a lot.
Yeah. Did you have any fatigue creeping in at this point? Because I feel like on rewatches, like post Gandalf and the Balrog, there's kind of like a deep exhale kind of.
I will tell you, I didn't check the clock or anything one time. I felt like this movie actually kind of flew.
That is
like,
great to
it went
hear.
really-
Here and
that
there.
was a trick question. Never check your clock.
Yeah, no, I felt like this movie kind of flew by.
Yeah.
At that scene too, Galadriel gives him some kind of like potion looking thing. Has not come up yet, and I really want to know what that is.
It never does.
It never comes up. Ah.
It's just
It comes
like the
up.
I
Starver
know, I was just
people.
lying.
It doesn't. Oh yeah. No, it never comes up.
Yeah.
Just like how there's no spiders.
Yep.
That's not Chekhov's gun or anything. Just forget about Chekhov's gun.
But
So
yeah.
you just watched the first one? You haven't seen any of the other ones yet?
No.
So
We'll get
ex-
into
so
it more,
excited.
but I do have some like a knowledge of the third one.
Yeah.
The second one I know almost nothing about. I'll get
It's
more.
not
into
That
that
might be
that
my
much at
favorite
all.
one.
What?
It's not memed that much. I think the only thing that's memed from the second one is like Gimli riding a shield. But
Oh yeah, I honestly don't fucking know anything that happens in the second one. I don't think.
Yeah, I think at the end I'm going to ask you what you think is going to happen next.
Okay, yeah.
We'll
Ooh,
say
that's
that.
good.
That'll
it's
be
back
game
on the
for
menu,
today.
boys. That one that's from the second one.
So yeah, I didn't mean to bring us to a complete stop, but I like all the Galadriel stuff actually. I feel like the first time I saw it when I was 10, this was kind of like, okay, like this is a long time for me to sit in place, and now they're just doing like they're just talking in each other's minds now.
Okay, cool.
Like, okay,
All the action's done, I guess.
but yeah,
Which is not much.
she's appropriately ethereal and kind of mysterious, but seemingly helpful, and she does give him really good advice. You can't stay around these people.
No. I like that she
Yeah, I know
shows
this
him
is
the
terrible news, but you got to go.
the I forgot what it's called, but like the waters that tell you
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And I love that's how they work. It's like it's just something. Like I don't know. It might be useful.
Might
Yeah.
be not.
It could be something that already happened. It might be something happening like right now, and I don't really know how that.
Yeah.
is. Or it could be the future. You know,
It's something. Yeah.
it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
You roll a d6 and you see what happens.
And you see some terrible shit. She's like, I know what you saw.
It's like, well, this was actually something I didn't mention. This is something that could possibly happen if you fail, which isn't really the future, but I guess it's a future. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to like predict the future.
Just don't fuck up. Okay.
You don't
Just-
want to
just
fail now.
Bring the ring.
Yeah.
Sean Bean does have a good scene while in here where he's starting to get on the path of, okay, like I'm don't feel like I'm a rival with Aragorn anymore. I feel like we're on the same team, and like I'm happy to like ride with this dude.
He has like his little breakdown right around now too, where he mentions that she talked to him and like gave him a speech about hope. But it's weird because the speech he tells you is like her basically saying not to lose hope, but the way he says it, it's him talking about how he has lost hope.
So I picked up on it this time too. When she was speaking in his head, you didn't hear it. But if you look at his face, he looks like he's having a fucking panic.
Yes, he
attack.
does.
I
Yeah.
didn't notice.
It's just
Yeah,
like,
he's like-
he's like there's sweat coming down, like he is like freaking the fuck out, and I've never picked up on that before, but it
Yeah.
was because you don't ever really hear what she says to him, you
No.
just hear his recounting of it,
Mhm.
and like there's a lot that is said on his face though.
There's so many details throughout these
Yeah.
movies that are like like even just like there's a lot of reflections of things like on the ring at the very beginning, like it reflected what was it, Elrond? Yeah, just like in the tiny reflection of the ring, like that's like something like there's so many very very like minute details that it just make it so good.
Talking about the ring reminded me we didn't mention it, but when Gandalf goes to learn about the ring, like because he knows if Frodo's got this magical
Gotta
ring,
consult
but
the
he's
scrolls.
got to scroll. So, and he comes back and he fucking throws it in the fire. He's like, "Does it say anything? Look at it. Do you see anything?" He's like, "Nope, it's just a normal ring." He's like, "Oh, thank Christ! Hell yeah, it's just a regular ring." He's like, "Wait,"
Oh, wait.
and his face just like fucking drops. And that was really really
And
good.
Frodo's like, "What the hell are you? Why are you throwing my only jewelry into the fire?"
I do love that like he's known Bilbo has a ring that makes him invisible for like 60 years now. I guess it's not known about the ring, but like I do love that
he
he's
said
just, like,
he's like, "Oh, there's lots of magic rings in the world."
yeah.
He acted like he says that straight up. Oh, the world's full of magic rings. Don't play with them though.
What was it, like 50 GP? Where'd you get this? The merchant?
Right, yeah. Yeah, just a ring of minor invisibility. Whatever.
Yeah, uncommon magic item. Not
Yeah,
a big deal.
exactly.
Does it summon
Tier one.
skeletons? I don't care.
Yeah.
He took it from the dragon.
So this, yeah, let's talk about. They go down. They see the Argonath. That's cool. Those big statue boys.
Oh yeah. That whole scene of them just kind of mosey on down that river. I was like, oh, this is nice. You know what I mean?
Crazy. They pack so much into these movies that I feel like what this one does really well is you have the moments where you get an idea of how much these guys all mean to each other, because they don't really meet again until the end of the series. I think that's pretty clear, even at this point.
Oh, I didn't realize, but
Whatever.
Spoiler.
Gave it away.
I don't know. They all. I mean,
Let's
the
back
fellowship's like, not exactly broken, but they all go in separate directions at the end of
Frodo's
the
just
movie.
like fucking off. To
I
another
wasn't
one.
sure if they were gonna find Frodo and Sam in the next one.
Yeah,
They might.
Well, Frodo
There's-
specifically says like
they're specifically like choosing not to. Essentially.
Frodo says like, oh, when they right at the end, he's like, oh, I wonder how we're all gonna meet up in.
He says
Mordor.
we'll
yeah.
probably never see them again, right? And Sam
He-
goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I wasn't sure because I don't know what happens in the next one. So I was like, oh, and I know they meet up at some point, but I didn't know what movie or like how close to the end. Even if their plan was to meet up again at the very end, I didn't know that would come to fruition that way.
Yeah, but either way, they're not together too much now, but you need to understand like that they weren't together that long, but they went through some shit and they did form this bond.
They're not clear, but I think it's like months.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a very long time.
Yeah.
I thought they did a pretty good job by like depicting that by just showing like really wide like scenes where it's like, oh god, they're walking.
And their
far.
landscape changes a lot too because the fucking
Yeah.
mountains are on fucking huge.
Yeah.
He mentioned just getting through the mines was like a 4-day event.
Yep.
And then obviously they're on that
Emotionally
huge,
20.
yeah, that huge river and stuff. Like they're on all these different landscapes.
And
So I'm
I
like,
think
oh,
right at the beginning, and I guess they end up not following through, but like one of the first things Gandalf says when they're all walking is like, all right, first direction, 40 days that way.
yes, he says 40 days that way. I remember the 40 days in particular. So I was like,
Yeah.
it's been months. It's like half a year probably.
Getting places just like fucking sucked before cars.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I assume too it's because they're being sneaky about it all and they're taking a not direct route. Because
That's true.
in
You
the
just take
beginning,
a horse all the way.
Yep.
when Gandalf goes to consult the scrolls, it shows him like he goes to several different places, but on a horse really quick, and then comes back in what seems like just a couple days.
That's probably what like clued off Saruman and stuff like that. That you know that like people knew where he like. Okay, why is he looking at? He's real excited about something.
He went to the only library in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what books did he check out? Saruman's Ring of Power and Where to Find It.
Ruh-roh.
Kind of circling back and forward at the same time, but you know how you're talking about Aragorn and Boromir like becoming closer and not as like much of enemies.
Mhm.
There's like one scene where it really like kicks in when he dies, and he puts on his he actually puts on Boromir's
Like
bracers. What are these called?
Yeah.
Bracers. And it's like, oh,
Yeah,
like
It's really nice.
That's nice.
the Sons of Gondor are
Still
still
dead,
coming
but-
home.
Yeah.
I do love that. Like his burial though was just like, all right, fucking
this waterfall,
Shut
yeah.
up, a waterfall. Like, all right, his body is just still gonna be floating on that river.
Yeah, I
like,
didn't think
you
that.
didn't dispose.
Someone's
of him
gonna be
at all.
going for a walk, and then just be like, oh
It's
god.
just gonna be face down, full of arrows floating down the river, basically.
It's like, oh, a bloated corpse. So peaceful.
Tough day, huh?
Face down full of arrows flown down the river. Sounds like someone else we know. Isildur.
Who also was corrupted by the ring.
Mm. So I don't know if that's on purpose, but I think it's supposed to be like a pretty solemn
Might be.
note, but it's I had the same thought of like they put him off in the boat. I was like, I remember that. And it's like, did they shoot an arrow? Did they set him on fire? It's like, oh no, he falls out of the boat immediately.
It's like
He's just a corpse in the river.
You could have
Okay.
thrown his corpse in the river.
Yeah, you're just throwing his corpse.
throw him in the waterfall.
Just
That's
dig a
gonna
hole.
break up on the rocks, maybe. I don't know.
It's what he would have wanted.
I guess.
Although actually he's in full armor. He probably fucking sunk right to the bottom.
That's true. That's true.
But that whole like forest battle scene was really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Did you? I guess I guess I don't really ever remember that Boromir goes quite so hard at Frodo,
Yes.
and he immediately regrets it. But then it's like it's too late.
I forgot that Frodo goes pretty hard back. Like when he's invisible, like I thought he just like ran away, but
He
he's like,
kicks him, like,
fucking
pulls him and
kick, he knocks him over. I'm like, man, Frodo's just like shadow boxing this guy.
I really like that scene. I feel like Sean Bean is real good too because
Yeah.
like he goes real crazy, but then he feels so bad and like I feel like you immediately go back. I never felt like I was ever against Sean Bean. I was always like, oh, poor Sean Bean. You know what I mean? I think it helps because they mention so much how the ring like corrupts people, so you don't really feel like it's his fault. You know what I mean?
You've seen it like 6 times at that point.
Yeah.
Yes.
If it can corrupt a super powerful wizard, then it's like this is
Yeah.
one dude. Like,
Yeah. So I never
sorry,
even felt
man.
like he was really evil or anything. You know what I mean? And then he
Yeah.
immediately starts fighting for them again as soon as the Uruk-hai show up.
It's
That
great.
reminds me too.
He's
I
an
really,
honorable dude, ultimately.
I really liked Gandalf's speech about Gollum too. Like in that same note of
Yes.
like knowing how like the ring like just fucks with people, and he's like, don't be so quick to judge out fate. Like everything in the is just so well done. I don't know. I really like a lot.
Yeah.
Of quotes.
That same scene in The Mines of Moria is when he also says the thing that Frodo hears
In his
back
head.
to himself around where we are in the movie now,
Yep.
where we don't get to pick what time we live in. We just get to decide what we do with the time we have.
Yeah.
That's a good quote.
Oh, so good.
I know.
Make
Yeah.
sure
You feel
Red
that
gets
one
that
on
one.
the inside.
Yeah, you feel that one.
That whole fight scene too. I'm pretty sure that was
It's
like an
good.
add-on just for the movie.
It's a good fight
I don't
scene.
think that's like a book thing. They were just like, we need a fight. Like, we need a cool fight scene.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah, for the end
Aragorn's
there.
badass.
It was really cool.
They have the Uruk-hai that doesn't have a name, but you can tell like, oh, that's the main bad
That's the main-
Uruk-hai.
Yeah.
He's got a bow and arrow. Good thing you didn't give him to any of the other ones.
Yeah. He's not just fighting to kill, he's fighting to kind of be a dick.
Yeah, he's being an asshole. Yeah, watching Aragorn chop his head off is really cool.
Yeah.
Very
That was
satisfying.
Oh, before Frodo runs away, there's a moment between him and Aragorn that I feel like Viggo Mortensen is perfect in, where he's like looking at the ring, but then he closes his hand around and
Yes,
says, I would have
yeah.
followed you to the end, till into
And
the
he's
fires
like,
of Mount
I
Doom.
know
And he
you
goes,
would have. I don't know.
I
It's very
know.
hard. Very hard.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God.
I really like
And he's like,
that.
run. And then he just walks out. It's the hottest a man's ever looked.
All of everybody's realizations as they realize like Frodo's gonna leave and like how they handle it is really cool because obviously like he closes his hand. Merry and Pippin give him that opportunity to escape. They sacrifice themselves because they get taken away. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So they realize he wants to go out on his own. And they do that, and then obviously Sam comes to realize he wants to go on his own. I'm coming with you, and that's a meme. So I knew
You can't swim.
Yeah.
I love this. Like, you
I'm
can't
going
swim. Like,
alone.
well, I guess I'm gonna drown. I always find that funny too. That like I know it's a real thing, but like people that can't swim, I don't know. I can't. I know
Yeah.
how to swim, so it's hard. But
You
like
just die.
he's just like like move
Yeah.
your arms, or it's like you
Well,
gotta
he's
do
trying
it.
to he's trying to grab at something, but yeah,
He's got like flippers, so he should be a good swimmer.
Yeah, honestly, though.
he's also wearing several layers,
That's
Mm.
fair.
so it's tough.
Yeah.
It is.
But yeah, I knew that was gonna happen because there's that meme, I'm going on my own. Of course you are, and I'm coming with you. But yeah, so it was cool to see how everyone like kind of
Yeah.
dealt with it different. And then obviously Sam goes along and he's like, yeah, Sam can come. I could take Sam in a fight. So
Yeah.
I'm not worried about bringing Sam along.
All I have to do is throw a piece of bread to the side and Sam will go after it.
The Merry and Pippin thing too, I thought was great because
Such a good moment.
I don't know if I remembered from like previous watches, but like they don't really have a lot of intel on the hobbits. So for all they know, like those were all the hobbits.
I was
And
gonna
you-
say,
like,
yeah, they basically think they're Frodo.
yeah, like
because they
we
take him
got
and
the
leave,
hobbits.
and they all leave, and I'm like, oh, they thought they got what they were here for.
Yeah, there's no
Like,
like,
they haven't seen
there's
any
no
of the
like
hobbits.
picture like
Not a
this
picture. They don't know
hobbit.
how many hobbits. They're just like, this
No,
hobbits.
it's
They
like,
said,
okay,
go
we-
get the halfling and bring him back here
And
alive.
Pippin
Yeah.
likes to fuck around, so he's like, I'm not telling you anything.
Yeah, so they're like, oh, we got him,
It is such a nice moment where they're like, oh, well, we got to do this. And they don't know that they're looking for hobbits alive. They're just
Right.
like, fuck it.
Okay.
Come this way.
Yeah.
We're going to run as far as we can. And we know it's probably like 100 yards.
I love that like they have their swords out too, and they're clearly like gonna try to fight them, but they don't even like bother showing that. The next scene, they don't have their swords and they're like slung over their
Like,
shoulders.
you know
like
what
that.
happened.
That didn't
Yeah.
go well for them.
It didn't work.
This
Yeah.
guy's almost died 4 times without getting into a fight. He's
Yeah.
not.
I also like too, as far as the way they like feed you little bits of information while that's going on, and Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli are all fighting random things. That's when you hear the horn, and they go, the horn of Gondor, and I'm like, okay, well, this horn is important. If you hear there's a horn, they could have just been like, that way there was a horn. This is the horn of Gondor.
Boromir. It's
I
like,
know
oh,
that tone
there's
specifically.
only one motherfucker that can blow the horn of Gondor.
Some
Yeah,
other
and then
guy
they
comes
show
up.
up, and I'm like, wow, that's a nice horn.
Yeah, it was a nice
Like,
one.
Gondor's gonna be very upset if they don't get this back.
Yeah. Every time they say anything about Gondor, I'm like, yes, Gondor. I'm like
funny.
really excited to see this. What the White City? Is that what it is? The White
Yeah.
Tower?
Yeah,
One of those.
it's Gondor and Minas Tirith is.
Yeah.
I thought it would be funny if like that happened and then it was just like some guy walking out of the woods like blowing a horn. He's like, yeah, I made this horn.
That's not the horn of Gondor.
That's the horn of Gondor. No, it's the horn of over there by that tree where I live.
See, the problem is he blew it, and so now like Gondor heard it, and they're like 20 days away, but now they all have to like they're coming.
Oh,
it's gonna be
sucks.
slow.
Imagine butt dialing with that horn. It's like, we're here.
God,
Oh,
all of Gondor.
I
again?
was
How do you
drunk.
butt dial with the horn?
I don't know.
It makes a
wanna
different
know?
tone, but it's distinct.
So probably not Sean Bean's most iconic death. I think at this point you'd have to give it to Game of Thrones,
Oh yeah.
but
Maybe it was his most iconic death at the time.
I would have to say very much so.
Mm.
Though he gets dropped in.
Was that the beginning of his deaths?
No,
No.
he'd been dying for years.
It was very
he gets
badass.
dropped into that big dish in Puerto Rico, or the big satellite dish that I think collapsed recently in a James Bond movie.
Okay.
Oh.
Not like himself in his personal life, but in the James Bond movie.
But no, his death was really good. I
Yes.
enjoyed like he still
was
killed
valiant.
like 6 people every arrow. It was like a
Oh yeah,
A 6
after
for
he,
1.
like, lost the use of his left arm, and he's still like, you get to a point where you're like, these guys should be better than this.
just like, what are you doing?
You made an army of Uruk-hai, and like Saruman's good. What is he going to tell Sauron? Like, yeah, they weren't that good. You know, you throw out the first pancake. It's my bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I remember you said like raise an army is check, equipped an army check. This train. I didn't train the army. I just sent them all out of the ground after.
I'm gonna be
people.
honest. I know we had 2 great species of fighters. I bred them together, kind of like how you just take 2 random dogs, stick together. These weren't better, I guess.
Yep.
Listen, it's the first iteration. I swear the second batch will be maybe better.
These ones are prone to hip dysplasia, unfortunately.
What do you mean? But what did you do to make? Oh, I like just buried him in the ground and tortured him a bunch more.
Yeah, but he kills like 2 dudes every couple seconds, even after he loses use of one arm, and it's a good death. It's nice that guy doesn't shoot him in the face from point blank range.
I did love
Yeah.
too that like Aragorn
He
was
was
gonna
gone.
like pull the arrows out of him, and he's like, don't fuck it. Like I am dying. I do not need any more pain. Like that was
Yeah.
such the right call there.
The speech he has with Aragorn there's really good too, where he's like, no, you have your honor still, and like you didn't lose it. And
It's like, it's the ring, bro.
Yeah,
It's the
that's what he cares
post-nut
about.
cloud.
It's a potential tearjerker moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And
and
he
it was real
gets-
nice.
And he even gets a moment to be like, Frodo is gone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he's got to be. He can't be around. Yeah, and then Aragorn is crying, and they get that great scene after they push him off of the waterfall.
they throw him down.
Did you
Uh,
notice
where
the
he's like-
size of those arrows too, though?
Yeah,
those
they were
shafts were like
sucks.
massive.
Sucks.
You could have taken out an elephant with that.
Yeah, they're basically
Or an
bolts.
elephant.
I was like, geez, that is like
Yeah.
mini tree trunks.
So I just love when he's like, all right, well, here's what's up. And he's like, leave what you don't need. We're traveling light. Let's go.
But I need these new bracelets.
We're
for
hunting
sure.
orc. It's like, oh, yeah, let's hunt some orc. Hell yes.
Hell
Can't wait to see
yeah.
what those guys get up to.
Yeah, I'm really glad they're going back from Merry and Pippin.
Yeah, you almost like went right into the second movie, and I was like, no, wait for the.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, you're going to want
I,
it fresh.
yeah, I want to watch it. I'll probably watch it the day before we record.
And then, yeah,
Must
like
be excited.
we already
though.
said,
Yeah, I'm like really excited for the next one.
Frodo tells Sam he's glad he's there, and credits.
Credits.
Directed by Peter Jackson.
Yes.
PDJ.
I love
Big
too like
Peach.
that shot because it kind of feels like Mordor is really close, but it's not that close.
We got some time. All right, what do you
Yeah.
think happens next?
I'm gonna be honest. So you want to know? Like, I do know some stuff about the second movie. Do you want me to?
Sure, we
Sure.
already know it.
So I know.
Spoiler.
I know there's a battle at Helm's Deep, and I've
Correct,
seen
Amundo.
the battle, which is funny too. I've probably seen it more than anyone else in the
Oh
room.
right.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, and actually, nope. I've only seen the speech before the battle like 85 times.
Yeah. So I worked at a group home, and one of the students would watch it on repeat, like constantly.
Just
Like
specifically the battle.
the battle. As soon as it finished, he rewind it, which is funny because that there's one point in the Fellowship where when they're running from the Balrog and they got to get down the broken stairwell, and Gimli goes to jump and someone tries to like pick him up or something, like you never toss a dwarf or something like that. I'm like, this comes back. Yeah,
know about that.
I do that. That happens. But that scene I think is the only thing I know about the Two Towers. I have
okay.
no idea what this fucking movie's
That's
about.
one of the towers.
I know, but I know there's two towers, and I assume one of them is the white one at Gondor, and the other one, the only other tower I've seen is Saruman's, is a big tower. So I assume those are the two towers, but I really don't.
Well, that's where the orcs came from.
So,
I mean,
Yeah,
We're not going to do like a whole, here's what you got wrong. But Gondor's like the country.
Oh, okay. It's not like
There's cities in it. The White
Gotcha.
City is Minas Tirith, right?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Just so you know, because I'm not trying to correct you, but that'll be useful to know going forward.
Okay.
And country's not entirely correct, but whatever.
The land.
Yeah. So
The other thing I know
I just wanted you to know that you will need to know what Two Towers the movie refers to.
I'll figure it out.
All right, what else happens?
The only thing
It's
I think,
never clearly mentioned.
Oh, come on. Don't tell him that.
The other thing I think I know happens is I know at some point Gollum is either in the group or they run into him, and I'm assuming that happens in this movie. I assume Sam and Frodo are just going to be walking to Mordor the whole movie. I assume the other guys are going to actually get Merry and Pippin back this movie. And that's all I know. I know Gandalf comes back to life too at some point. I know he's in the final
That's too
movie.
bad.
That is too
We
bad.
were all looking at each other when you're like, and that's where Gandalf dies. And we were all like, ooh, does he know?
I know he comes back. I don't know when. I thought I'm assuming it's in the third movie, but I don't know.
Oh, you've probably heard or like seen the quote, like the big speech of like I strayed from time and space and all that. No,
No, I just know he wears white robes later
gotcha.
instead of gray.
And
Gotcha.
He can't die.
Oh, okay, and he can't die.
Yeah. We already said he's a demigod type thing.
So that's like
It's
literally
also
all
why
I
him
know.
and
I
Saruman
have-
just kind of put him on the roof. He didn't actually like
Yeah,
kill
he's
him.
like, I can't kill you.
It's
So
weird because I know how
could
the
torture
whole series ends. Obviously, I know they throw the ring in the mountain. And I've seen the scene actually.
Oh, okay. So
Like,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, I don't. I think that was like a thing that went around for. There was a gif of the Gollum falling in the mountain. Oh, and then Frodo saying it's done. That's a classic meme. So I know that.
That's a-
I have no idea what the fuck's gonna happen in between here.
yeah,
Because
there's gonna be some stuff.
there's got to be something, but like
it's a far travel.
I guess technically there doesn't have to be anything. They could just walk to the mountain now.
I think we all get to tease one like vague thing for Greg if we don't feel like we can hold ourselves back.
Oh, I've been wanting to tease this because he hasn't mentioned it yet. But is it too? I'm
Keep it
thinking-
vague. So for me, one of the most like impressive and propulsive couple sequences of movie making ever, I think, happened in this next movie.
Really?
Oh, mine
There's
was
a
from-
thing where some things are happening at the same time, and you're like, I can't believe how compelling everything is.
Oh wait, there's tree people at some point.
I was just gonna say my thing was gonna be tree people and they're rad.
Mine was actually from the third one, so I'm not even gonna say.
Oh, okay,
anything.
yeah, you
There's
can use that
actually-
next time.
Yeah.
Two types of tree people.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's big ents at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know
then-
what role they play.
I forgot what the other ones are called. The ones that actually. Oh, never mind.
I thought of it
Do
because
stuff.
they in this movie they pull up all the trees around Sauron's tower, and I was like, "What? They're gonna accidentally pull up a fucking tree person?" He's gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
The
Bro,
Lorax
bro.
shows up.
Yeah.
I've been here for 35,000 years, and you have to come and fuck with me.
Yeah. I guess they do make a point to say like these trees are super old, and in a movie that does so many things, I think you're probably in a mode of like, wow, everything must be important if it has so many things to do.
Yeah. So
It is kind of impressive with a 3-hour movie. There's really not very much wasted.
No.
Like everything is like, yeah, that was important to put in there.
It's nice you still get character moments and relationship building and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
just
I'll-
looked up how long the whole journey took. It's a long time.
Yeah.
How many days?
17 years.
Really?
Holy shit!
Yep, from him inheriting the ring to the end.
Really? So I thought it was a lot shorter than that.
That's a lot of years. Yeah.
It's a lot of
Um,
years. The whole series
I
to
thought it was
watch
like 7
extended
months.
editions, I looked it up. It's 11 hours and 55 minutes
Oh, okay.
It's 12 hours.
That's not too bad.
to do all the extended.
So about 4 hours each.
That's longer. We did 4 Matrix movies. They don't total up to that though.
No.
And that's why I was hesitant to watch.
So what do you think of the casting in this? So not that you've read the books, but as far as like people operating in the capacity that you've seen them in this movie. So the main ones being, we already mentioned Frodo, Elijah Wood, Sean Astin as Sam, Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn, Ian McKellen as Gandalf, which is, I think, perfect.
Oh yeah.
That'd be the only one I'd fight you on if you like.
No, I think they were all pretty good.
Yeah. John Rhys-Davies is Gimli. Orlando Bloom is Legolas. He has more to do in subsequent movies.
I still liked him in this too.
I do
Honestly,
too.
I liked them all. I think out of all of them, I would say probably the worst. They were all good, honestly, but I think maybe my least favorite was probably Sean Bean, honestly. I just felt like he I don't know, there was just like something about his character. 'Cause
I
he
was
was
say,
just
do you
so
mean as an actor or a character? 'Cause
it's hard
great-
to tell, you know what I mean,
yeah.
what it is, you know what I mean? If is it the way he's delivering it, or is it just the character? His character was very like, I don't want to say sad, but like, you know what I mean? Like
He kept it in the inside.
I guess maybe, I don't know. There was something about it. It was just like,
Yeah, he's like a guy with a rich dad.
I feel like
Yeah.
you'll understand him a lot more after the second movie. There's my tidbit.
I still liked him.
Certainly by the end.
I wouldn't say he was like he did a bad job or anything like that. I do think he did good, but I felt like the others were very much like just between the few things they did. I'm like, okay, I know exactly who this. I could tell you who this character is really easily. Maybe he was just a little more complex.
Well, the problem is there was like one dwarf, one elf, and there's like 2 humans. It's like, well, one of you is extra.
Yes, you're the extra human. You know what I mean in the party.
Funny, it's interesting. Do you know like the story? You probably do, of like why Boromir is also there. Like there's 2 humans in the Fellowship.
I know. I didn't actually read the books.
One of their dads had like a dream that like Boromir had to be there. So that's like why they were both sent. So like in the movies they make it seem like in the movies they make it seem like they were summoned, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
kind of
But
just
they were
don't.
actually they volunteered
Oh, gotcha.
in the books.
Hmm.
And like Boromir just had to go. They're like, oh, we already got Aragorn, but you have to go too. We need 2 humans.
But I
Yeah.
did like the
And
casting.
4 hobbits.
I was gonna say all 4
Yeah.
hobbits are
It's
very
about
like
one human.
I was gonna say height, like if they wear one of those tall
You're not wrong,
trench
yeah.
coats.
they were all very hobbity. All 4 of them, I felt like they like
They're so good.
they
I
do.
like
They
all
do.
those guys
They-
a lot.
all of them do
Perfect
such a
hobbits.
good job.
Well, and it's very briefly, but so the hobbits, they don't really interact with the outside world at all, and the outside world does not interact with them. They're essentially just children.
They mention it at one point. I forgot what they said about it, but they say something like they're just over. Like most of
They're
the world
over
never
there.
sees them. They're just like over there.
It
They're
was.
not
I was.
involved in the political landscape
I-
of
I
what's
almost-
happening at all.
That sounds great.
I almost wrote it down, but it was right in the beginning when Frodo asked for news about the outside world, and I forgot what it was. Something along the lines of like, the outside world doesn't know too much about you either. Like, he's like, and I'm real glad about that. Basically, like,
Yes. Yeah, he says something like
And
that.
I never want to leave the Shire.
Yeah.
well, no, Gandalf is real glad that like the
Yeah,
rest
oh,
of the
yeah,
world
yeah.
doesn't know about them. He's like, you're too precious for the world, my boy.
Yes. But yeah, I really liked all 4 hobbits because they do give you this like vibe like that they're all from this same place and like, you know, their behaviors
Yeah.
and stuff. And then obviously they all have their own little things. I feel like Merry and Pippin.
Mr. Frodo, that's the furthest I've been from the Shire.
Yes.
I love that
Merry and
moment.
Pippin are a little more like tied together for me. Like I have a little bit of trouble distinguishing them still after this movie, other than the
Same.
fact that Pippin like
Racist, but
fucks everything up.
It's kind of like guilty
the
by
hobbits look the
association on
same.
Mary's part because
Yes.
Mary's actually like pretty serious,
Yes.
yeah.
and but you can tell like if Mary wasn't around, Pippin would just be fucked.
Pippin would have died at the age
Pippin
of
would
like
be dead.
3.5.
Yeah,
I've caught his full name too, because it's like Maripol or no, it's not
Mary,
Maripol.
Mary
it's-
Bottom? No.
It's not Merry and Pippin.
Yeah, like his full
No.
name was
Oh.
like
It's-
Gandalf
it
says
says
it
like
at
they
one
said it at the
point.
beginning.
Marigold something. and-
Oh, Google it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Pippin is not even a lot of those letters aren't even in his name.
Yeah. Their names are like weird. Because they get introduced as their
Yeah,
full names.
Pippin's a nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nickname.
But yeah, obviously
Mariotic, Brandybook, and Peregrine Took.
Peregrine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Peregrine's a better name.
Peregrine.
Yeah.
What was the Mary?
Mariotic or
Mariotic.
Mariotic.
Yes.
Mariotic.
But yeah, obviously I liked
Mariodoc,
the 4 hobbits, and like I said, they shared a lot of characteristics, but then they had all their like little unique things. And Sam's going to be the MVP of the series. He's like
Sam, the character development with Sam is incredible.
I already really really like him, and like I said,
Good.
obviously I like Frodo too, but he's just like his scenes are never enjoyable because it's just him being like crushed.
Well,
every
get
single time.
used to it.
I know it's not going to get any easier.
Yeah, you got a lot of time with them still.
I
to
don't
come.
know. I also like too that everybody's dirty a lot too,
yeah.
except the elves.
One thing
Viggo Mortensen's nails, I noticed,
Yeah.
were just
Yes.
like so. And I was like, yeah,
I was
he's
about to say-
probably taking hits on the hands.
Yeah.
Frodo's too.
Frodo's,
are,
yeah.
are gross.
and Bilbo's hand. But anyone who's holding the ring, you got to close up on their hand. Their hand's all fucked up.
Yeah,
Everybody, yep.
Because I noticed, like, even like it was very specific, like Viggo's nails. He had like
Yes.
dark bruises underneath. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
that just looks like, I don't know why they added that detail, but I'm really glad they did.
It's great.
Yeah, they look like people who like live out in the
It's weird because that's
wilderness.
something I specifically noticed too, were their nails.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
it looks
Because
like
you get a lot
hit
of
them with
close
a
up of
hammer.
hands because of
Yeah.
the ring. They show the ring a lot.
and
Yes.
you can like, and Aragorn's basically been living as a drifter, so you don't know how much time he's,
He's never
spending
even
indoors
showered.
anyway.
You're right.
What I want to see, and I'm pretty sure it does not happen, is there's the scene when they form the Fellowship where fucking Gimli hits the ring and the axe explodes. I want someone to block an incoming attack with it. Pew! And it just fucking shatters. Oh shit!
It was like a miss of
Captain
magic
Planet.
missile, and he's just like,
That's all I could think of. I was like, oh, you got to be real accurate with this. Sauron tried this once. It didn't work.
Yeah. So speaking of the ring, just as because we're basically wrapping up now, but some of the fun. The problem with this is, so we're already at like an hour 40, and the problem with this series is going to be like there's so much to talk about in the actual movie, and then you could watch almost as long documentaries as each of the movies about the making of these movies, or at least I could, and I would find interesting stuff the whole
You could
time.
watch a documentary
I
3
did.
times as
Yeah.
long about the
Right,
books
exactly.
and movies.
And one of the things I do want to mention that I think is really cool is just because some of the close-ups of the ring when it's on the ground or when it's in the snow and being picked up, when it's on Bilbo's floor, is they had a huge fucking ring, so they didn't have to zoom in that much. They just had a huge ring that they would drop.
I remember hearing that. I
And
thought that
that's
was a really
why-
fun detail.
It's like and it's got like the magnetic thing almost when Bilbo drops it and
I-
it doesn't bounce. It just goes
It was
boom.
really cool. I really like that it didn't bounce. I
Thud.
noticed it right away.
But yeah, those
because
close-ups look so
135
good.
pounds.
Yeah, and the one in the snow is there's characters in the background too, so the focus would not work at all if you're zooming in on something that small. So they just have a huge fucking ring.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so smart.
I
Yeah,
really
this
like
is great.
when
Great stuff.
who's the king? Is Isildur? What is it?
Isildur?
Isildur.
Isildur. When he takes the ring and it's really big
Yes.
and it like shrinks in his hand. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's really
Oh
cool.
yeah, but yeah. So there's just I think I wanted to share that because there's literal hours we could talk about, but I feel like that's indicative of they're inventing all this stuff with CGI and Weta in the Weta workshop. I don't know if that makes it sound any better.
I don't like it.
No.
Continue though.
But there's still some stuff where it's just like, filmmaking tricks that they had for like the Universal monster movies in the 40s and
Was-
stuff.
Like we said, like this was the first use of CGI, so they had to be. They couldn't just like,
Yeah.
just do it in post. Like they had to still be creative with stuff.
Yeah.
I
So this is only 8 years after Jurassic Park.
yeah, I which is where it all starts. I also like that they don't explain too much about this ring. I really don't understand what it does still, other
fine.
than it can make you invisible.
One more ring in the darkness to bind them.
Yeah, it's just powerful and
It's just-
evil. But I
that's all
like
you
that
know, the
because
whole
it
movie.
gives you like
This is
a
the
lot
this is
you
the
can
worst
like
one
work with.
for sure.
I saw
Real bad.
Yeah.
So
Bad.
I've seen all the movies, all that, and like after I watched this, I was like, "The fuck." Where are the other rings? And I had to Google it, and like it just came up on like the background wiki, but it's not a part of the fucking movies. Like
Yeah, I assume the Nazgul still have theirs.
they have theirs. 3 of the dwarven ones were eaten by dragons. Sauron has the other 4. Gandalf has one apparently. One of the rings Elrond has to protect Rivendell, and the third one Galadriel uses to protect the
Oh,
They never say just the woods, right?
yeah.
The
Yeah.
something woods, the Saria woods, the Tharia woods.
Something like that. But yeah, that's where the other rings are. I don't know what happened to the ones the dragons ate.
That's a good thing to know.
I'm assuming
that's a
they're
fun
not
fact.
like
So-
fucking with the dragons, but
Yeah.
It's probably like underground somewhere. So they dropped it.
yeah.
So how cool is New Zealand? What a place!
I know, huh? Holy shit.
Yeah.
This
Also-
movie must have been good advertising for them. They're fucking.
Yeah,
it's still one of their highest like tourist draws.
Oh, yeah,
because people
absolutely.
still
it's still
go
there.
Like you can
Yeah.
stay in the Hobbit houses and stuff.
And
It's
I don't
worth $40,000.
I don't know how apocryphal it is, but I think like the number there's like an actual like measurable percentage of the New Zealand population that's in these movies because of all the extras. Once you get to
Oh,
the
shit.
second and third movie with all the battle scenes and stuff,
I think they said like 40% or higher. That might even be low.
I think it's 40%.
That's a lot.
Well, the rest of New Zealand's cheap.
New Zealand's
It's all
not that
sheep.
big.
Yeah, but just like it's still like distance wise to travel. I think there is like a number that you can be like this percentage of people in New Zealand were in these movies.
Oh, I should
And,
also specify the 17 years. That's not how long the journey took. The journey was like a year-ish.
Okay,
like
I was
11,
gonna say, I thought
11
it was
months.
like a year.
But when like Gandalf first got to like that party,
yeah,
that they make it seem like Gandalf
it's
just
a week
like
later.
quickly went somewhere and came back. That was like, I don't know, 15 years.
Yeah.
And
That makes more sense.
yeah, that's why I was thinking of the age like 30 something for Frodo, but that's because that's how old he was, and then he didn't leave till he was 50 years old.
Yeah.
And hobbits don't live that long. Like Bilbo had the magic ring
Yeah. He should look all fucked up and old.
Yeah.
Like he does.
after.
Yeah.
It was 1 out of 160 New Zealanders.
Damn.
One out of every 160.
That's a lot.
0.7%.
Yeah.
Something
Which
like
is
that.
not 40%.
That's the-
I
yeah.
was gonna say 40% seems really high.
Basically, everyone in New Zealand was in the movie.
So you got to have like babies and old women in there now too. Like,
I think what I saw is I saw a post of like this percent of Peach Bowl knows someone that was in.
probably.
Yes, but
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of Urukai.
Yes.
Oh, I would be sad if I had to be a guy.
It's funny. There's like some behind the scenes footage, and we can wrap up at any time, but there's so much to talk about. There's some behind the scenes footage of the guys who were like extras in the Urukai or the orc makeup, and they just look like that, but they're just talking like, oh, yeah, you know, with their like weird sing-songy New Zealand accents.
Yeah, you
That's
should
awesome.
Google it. It's very
really good.
It's really entertaining.
And they're like dry sense of humor, so it's just very much like, you know, it's so funny.
should we do ratings?
It's yeah, you can tell it's the same place they filmed Power of the Dog, right?
Yes, I noticed that right away. I saw the mountain with the dog in it.
Yeah, you
It's
saw
in
the
the
dog.
movie.
You saw the dog.
I saw the dog.
Okay.
It was covered in snow in this one. But
Yeah, well, you know.
Snowy dog.
Yeah, we should do some ratings. Just on Fellowship. We'll try and keep it for each movie. Maybe at the end will be like an overall, but I don't know if any of our scores will change too much. At least,
that's kind of hard.
It's a 5 out of 5 for me.
yeah.
5 rings out of 5 rings.
Well, he took rings already, so good luck.
fucked up.
And I think it was good to get in as quick as you could, but just to give the spiel, we put these on Letterboxd on letterboxd.com. It's late to the movies. The number 2 you can find is there. And every week I'll post these, and sometimes I'll wait a few weeks and post a bunch at a time when I feel like it. But yeah, anyway.
I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 stings just because I want to give the third one 5 out of 5. So I feel like I have to work up to it.
Interesting. Cool.
I think that was my first 5 out of 5 on the pod.
I'm gonna be
It could be,
honest.
yeah.
I've been pretty easy with the 5 lately. I feel like I've dropped 2
Oh,
recently.
I'm not.
We've been inflating recently. It was I think until we started in October last year. We didn't have a unanimous 5-star movie until July. 5 Balrogs.
Nice.
They're cool. He's got that whip.
He does have the cool whip.
It's fire.
Cool whip.
He's made of like shadow and fire. He's pretty cool.
And evil.
Pretty cool guy.
It's a lot of pressure, Greg.
I know. I'm just deciding. I had something in mind, like a number, and now I'm like,
Well, it's already not a perfect score, so you don't have to have pressure on that.
I know, but I'm wondering if I want to give it a 5 anyway. Because it was really good. I'm trying to think, like, do I really have any complaints about this movie?
It kind of ends with ooh, come back next time.
It does end with a ooh, come back next time, but
That's probably not unexpected.
It's because nobody would watch a 10-hour movie, or else Peter Jackson would have probably just gave you.
Yeah.
A 10
I didn't mind it ending with a ooh, come back next time. I felt like it had a great ending with them going to hunt the orcs.
Yeah, it did have a great ending.
I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 clangy buckets.
Oh,
Nice.
That's a good one.
I'm changing mine to drums from the deep. So terrifying.
I'm so happy Greg liked it.
Me too.
I was gonna be so disappointed if you were like,
I would
yeah,
have been
it
shocked if I
sucked."
didn't like this movie.
I would too, because I feel like this is
Yeah.
stuff.
I didn't put it off because I was like, oh, I'm
We
not
play
gonna like this
D&D
movie.
every week.
I don't know if I've met anyone.
It's like, oh,
that's-
here's the source material for a thing we do every week.
I don't think I've ever met anyone that's actually watched the movies that said they didn't like them. Do you know what? Like, I've heard people that say like,
don't want to.
I won't watch
Yeah.
them. I don't think I'd be interested. But nobody's sat down that I know and watched the movies and said I didn't like
I
this.
think
Given a reason.
if you're someone who's like, I don't like medieval high fantasy,
right.
I'm not going to watch 10 hours worth of movies that I don't think I'm going to
That's
like.
fair.
Is it respect?
But fortunately, that's not the case today. So yeah, this is your Happy Hobbit Days. We're going to be continuing with the 2 Towers next week. One of the few times that I can actually say, here's what we're doing this month, and be pretty confident that we're going to follow through. as long as you don't have a baby like immediately.
I'll be able to do it.
Okay,
He's
good.
going into labor right now.
Oh shit. Yeah, so I'm excited and enthused, and I'm happy that we're doing this. You shall not podcast anymore because we're coming to the end. It was better the first time I did it. Anyway, you can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever else. I don't know, Podbeans, MySpace. You can email Noah at late2themovies@gmail.com. That's the number 2. On the TeePublic website, you can search for Late to the Movies and find a couple designs of ours. You can put them on pillows, mugs, stickers, t-shirts, blankets, etc. I know what Greg's getting for Christmas.
Hell yeah.
And that's pretty much it. I think there's other stuff, but I'm tired. Good job. I'm glad you guys are here with me. That's what Frodo says at the end, right?
Aw.
Yeah.
In my voice.
What?
Aw.
Oh, okay.
And that's where we end it. Just kidding. You can find us also at
Balrog noises.
Oh, I remembered another platform. I didn't. All right. Yeah. Fly, you fools. Got it.
Nice.
We did it.